For the second time this weekend, a Coventry team travelled to Nottingham to try and cause an upset. Coventry City over to Notts County in a controversial second leg League 2 playoff game on Saturday evening, seeing the Sky Blues come away victorious. Now, the Jets travel to Harvey-Haddon to try and cause an upset of their own. Caesars have already beaten the Jets away from home this season, 28-0 last weekend, and are looking to do the double. Jets have struggled in their first two games, falling to Leicester and the Caesars without scoring a single point, but are looking to put that losing streak to bed today, making the short trip up to Nottingham. Live action is on its way from the NFC 1 South, where the Nottingham Caesars take on the Coventry Jets live here from a sunny Harvey-Haddon Stadium. Welcome along here to Harvey-Haddon on this Sunday, the 20th of May. I'm joined as always by my co-commentator George Lees. Afternoon, George.
Good afternoon, Matt. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Seems to be that we always get to this point in May and the sun comes out here in Nottingham.
It's always nice in Nottingham when the sun comes out, isn't it? It's like a little microclimate too.
I seem to remember last year we were here for this one and there were some dubious wardrobe choices made by the Coventry team.
I wouldn't say dubious. I mean, I'd say stylish, fashionable.
That's very nice of you. Since I had my
I was talking about me, but
anyway, you join us here just as we're about to get the coin toss underway out there on the field. As ever, get involved with the show from that usual link. The hashtag this afternoon is Not versus Cov. We'd love to know where you're watching from, who you're supporting, if you know any of the players out there, if you're rooting for anybody as an individual, but get in touch with us and we'll give you a shout out on air as we go. Interesting one this afternoon, George, because you'd think the hometown Caesars would be favourites coming in after winning 28-0 on the road to Coventry last week, although that can sometimes be where a team such as the Caesars will stumble.
Yeah, first win of the season for them. Coventry, tough side when they want to be, I think is fair to say. They put up a real good first half against the Falcons earlier on in the year. So we'll see if they can bring that form back and see what they can do against the Caesars out here today.
Current standings in the division, Coventry sit at the foot of the table. On points difference, really, Doncaster and Coventry both yet to win a game, both with an 0-2 record. As we mentioned right at the top of the show, Coventry yet to score a point and have conceded 76.
Nottingham have won the toss and have opted to receive.
So there you go, you hear from our official this afternoon that Nottingham have won the toss and will elect to go on offence to begin with. Yeah, as I was saying, Coventry yet to score any points and have conceded 76. Doncaster having scored 20 but conceded 98. That's the only reason they're above them. And Nottingham sit one spot above those two contenders with a 1-2 record, 31 points in favour with 44 points against. What do you expect from this afternoon then from both outfits?
I think the Caesars will look to carry on the form that they had against the Jets 2 weeks ago. And I think the Jets will look to dig deep. I know they'll have watched plenty of film on that game to see where the Caesars beat them and see if they can bring this scoreline closer together.
I think one of the main reasons for that Caesars' first victory last time was the fact that they managed to get the ground game going. There was Corey and John who managed
so Corey, he managed well over 100 yards, I believe, and a touchdown to boot. So that will be a strong starting point for them today. I know they're missing one of their starting offensive linemen, Thomas Harvey, so he will be a big loss with what sounds like Mike Thompson stepping up to the plate to fill his gap.
And I think that's really what this game's all about in general, and the type of attritional game it is. If players do go down for whatever reason, whether it's due to injury or whether it's other commitments, obviously this is an amateur sport at this level, then other players do step up. And Mike Thompson, particularly this afternoon, is one that isn't used to playing on the line, but should do a competent job.
Well, defensive linemen always think they can do an O-line's job, so we'll see what he can do today.
So, enjoy the game if you're watching at home, whether you're outside just about to fire up the barbecue on this late spring, early summer's afternoon here. Coventry will be kicking off, playing from right to left as you look on the screen. Back deep to receive for the Caesars. Would appear we have the old stalwart Rob Hardwick, number 38, as one of the two deep men. So sit back, relax and enjoy this National League encounter between the Coventry Jets and the Nottingham Caesars as play gets underway with Elliot Strong kicking off, and he sends this one into the end zone where Hardwick watches it go out of the back, and the Caesars will take over on 1st and 10 from their own 20.
I think the thing to watch today is going to be the quarterback situation with the Caesars. Often a team that switches the quarterbacks around a number of times throughout the game. Led to believe that it's going to be Simon Denning in that starting role today.
It is indeed, as Simon Denning, number 12, walks out there. Quite a stereotypical quarterback in terms of build. Tall, rangy player. Got a good arm on him. Is a doctor by profession as well, so got a good head on his shoulders as well, and looking to try and get this Nottingham offence going from where they picked off last time against the Jets. So, first down Nottingham. 2 receivers either side for Denning. As he surveys that first defensive set, he drops back and he pops the ball out immediately and hits his receiver, and that's number 9, that's Andrew Lovett. And Lovett, after picking up a yard on the carry, on the catch rather, picks up another 7 or 8 for a good first down pickup.
Yeah, nice simple play, just a nice little hitch. Easy completion and a first down.
Just maybe short. 2nd and 1 is upcoming, so 9 yards on that completion. Interesting to see them going to the air straight away. But when we covered that Tamworth game last weekend, Tamworth against the Karlstad Crusaders, we noticed the Swedish outfit were effective with those little dink and dunk passes.
Well, that's the best way to move the ball. Let your athletes do the work.
And that is a first carry for number 26. That is Corey Lawrence, star of the last time these two teams met.
Let's see if he can do anything to get the chains moving.
Looks like, are they moving the chains? It looks like, yes, those chains have moved. So a successful first pickup for Lawrence. First down Nottingham.
I think he did well there just to reach over.
We mentioned last time we saw Leicester play the Caesars, we mentioned about maybe the offensive line not opening holes, but I think it's as much the running back's job to just try and hit those holes, whether they're there or not.
Yeah, you've got to find the seam, take 3 or 4 yards.
Denning steps back, finds Lovett again, who makes a reception and bounces off one man.
Oh, and that was a big hit by Coventry's number 77, Josh Kelly.
Upends Lovett, but nevertheless, Lovett holds onto the ball, another positive play. And that will bring up 2nd down. 2nd and 7 this time for the Caesars.
Looks like they've given him about 3 yards there.
So 3 plays, 3 positive plays for Nottingham. They'll be pleased with the way this is going. Sun in Denning's face at the moment, which is obviously difficult for the quarterback, but easier for the receivers looking back for the ball, and that's going to be a false start.
Looks like 56, Mike Thompson, the standing offensive lineman.
We mentioned, like you say, that he was deputising, and maybe a few early nerves as we listen to our referee with the first call of the afternoon.
Prior to the snap, dead ball foul, full start by the offence. 5-yard penalty, it remains 2nd down.
So yeah, first little negative play there for Nottingham this afternoon. See if they can bounce back from that. Has that ball been marched back yet? It hasn't as of yet. Now they do march it back. So instead of 2nd and 7, it'll end up being 2nd and 12. Nottingham looking to go 2-2 on the season this afternoon, get to 500 before they embark on the second half of their season. Denning drops back to pass this time, looks to his left, puts the ball out to the flats again. He's completed the pass once more, and this time it looks like Charlie Patterson, who picks up a couple on the carry and then runs laterally for about 15 yards.
These Caesars receivers, from what we've seen on the last couple of plays, seem to like running laterally and not upfield.
But that is 3 out of 3 for Denning so far. Brings up 3rd and 7. So a pickup of 5 on that one, getting the penalty yardage back. All 3 passes so far have gone out into the flats, which even though they only pick up sort of 2 or 3 yards vertically, the passes go through the air around about 15 yards. This time Denning goes up top, and he's got a man who has to adjust, and it's in and out of the hands of Danny Johns, and really he should have pulled that one in.
Yeah, the coverage was by Oliver Smith, and in all fairness, it wasn't brilliant coverage. Not a lot of pressure on Johns as the ball came over his shoulder.
And equally, that ball from Denning seemed to float a little as well. If he had been in better position, he may well have had a chance to intercept that one. But nevertheless, 4th and 7 Nottingham, and they will be forced to punt. And we mentioned pre-game Jack Winfield, the punter for Nottingham, and he can make a massive difference. We saw in the Leicester game where Nottingham were pinned back several times, and Winfield managed to change the the field position significantly. He'll kick this one from his own 20-yard line and looked for it to end up back in about the 20-yard line of the Jets. And this time it's not a bad kick, and it takes a Caesar's bounce, and there it is, just sneaking inside the 20 down to about the 17-yard line, and there's that field position that we spoke about.
Yeah, it wasn't the best boot that he's ever given it, but it will put their defence in a happy position to start on the Coventry's own 17-yard line.
So from his boot, that does end up being a 45, 50-yard punt for Winfield. And let's see what this Coventry offence can muster on their first possession of the afternoon. Spoke to Sean Martin in our pre-game slot, and we've got the interviews there ready lined up to bring you at half-time with both general managers this afternoon, Sean Martin and Barry Bosley, who gave us their thoughts. As Coventry on first down, hand the ball up the middle, and that is great penetration through the line. And the ball carrier, Madoa Kelter, only manages to pick up. In fact, he's stopped for a loss. If anything, it may well be a loss of a yard to bring up second and 11.
Yeah, great pressure around the edge there by the Caesars defence to stop that ball short. We'll see what the Jets can find this time.
So second and 11 Coventry, still inside their own 20-yard line. Quarterback this afternoon for Coventry is James Southall. We'll see whether or not he can muster anything. Well, that looked like a slight false start, but nothing's coming in. There's penetration again from the Caesars, and Southall is flushed out to his right, and then he is buried under 2 or 3 Caesars.
And this is the difference between, I suppose, Southall as the example in this situation compared to some of the better quarterbacks in the league. His eyes very much were not downfield, trying to look forward at his own feet almost.
James O'Brien there, first man to meet Southall, and he'll be credited with a sack there as a loss on the play. So it'll be third and long Coventry, 3rd and 13 upcoming. Southall realistically you'd think will be going to the air this time, but there's always the chance with that 3-man front for the Caesars, 3 men on the defensive line, that the Jets may well choose just to hand this ball on early in the game. So let's see what goes off. If Southall does drop back to pass, he steps up and he's got a man downfield, but it's kind of the receiver, the intended receiver there, number 89, Nick Sayer. The ball sort of drifted down the seam, and Sayer didn't really seem too interested in going after that one.
Yeah, it seemed a little bit lethargic there from the receiver. So it looks like the Jets will be punting this one out.
So a quick 3 and out, and this is where Winfield is so important. Realistically now, if the returner for Nottingham can field this one, they will already be in positive field position from where they kicked last time. So let's see whether or not the Jets can turn around this field position to put Nottingham in a bad situation. So the punter, that ball is up. It's a high punt. And that it takes a lovely Coventry bounce, and that bounces back inside the 30 down to the Nottingham 24-yard line, where they will begin their second series of the afternoon.
Yeah, great bounce there for Coventry. Let's see what Simon Denning can do with this offense this time round. If you're going to dink and dunk, you've got to have the receivers to do it.
Tricky one there for the punt returner Hardwick. Sun in his eyes, high kick coming out of the sun. Did well to get out of the way of that one, and it did take that Coventry bounce.
Let's see if they come out running or passing this time. They've had 1 run, 4 or 5 passes on the first drive.
So a moderately successful first series for the Caesars, seeing them pick up a first down. Denning once again, similar formation, that spread formation, 2 receivers to his left, 2 to his right, 1 man in the backfield, and that man does get the ball, and that looks like Corey once again, and he takes off, and he's got big room, and he's still on his feet at the 40, and he's met down at the 43-yard line after a pickup of 18.
Yeah, huge gain there by Corey Lawrence on that take, and he makes a lovely cut here just to cut back upfield and gain that extra 3, 4, 5 yards there.
Big, powerful back.
He played linebacker at the junior level last year for the Caesars. Very, very good hands. Great athlete.
So first down Nottingham, just shy of midfield. We're on a 90-yard field here in Harvey Haddon. It is a fantastic playing surface out there, George. One of the best in the country as Denning drops back to pass. He's got a man, he looks over the middle and he just overthrows Johns, his intended receiver that time.
Yeah, safety just stumbled there. Otherwise, he may well have got a grab on that ball.
That'll bring up 2nd and 10 Nottingham, just shy of midfield, as we mentioned. Denning obviously proved he can throw that short pattern out to the flats, but also does have a good arm to get the ball down the middle of the field as well.
It wasn't a million miles away from his receiver there.
So 2nd down Nottingham on their 2nd offensive series this afternoon here at Harvey Haddon in Nottingham. Onside Productions bringing you coverage of this Midlands clash between the Coventry Jets and Nottingham Caesars, and Denning drops back. He's got loads of time, and that's in and out of the hands that time of Callum Mitchell, number 84, and if he'd have caught that, he'd have been away.
Yeah, and that was very much on the receiver.
Look at his position of his hands, George. These hands there's nobody on him at all, and those hands are almost parallel with each other rather than putting that
backstop up.
Backstop there to create that basket there. So Callum Mitchell did have a chance there to bring that one in. Unfortunately, wasn't able to do so, which brings up 3rd and 10 for Nottingham. But the one thing I'm noticing so far is that defensive front of the Jets is not getting any penetration, and Denning does have all sorts of time back there to throw. As he drops back once again, and it's only a 3-man rush, and this ball is out to the sideline. It's caught, and that is caught by Charlie Patterson for his 2nd reception of the afternoon.
Yeah, three-man rush, 8 men going deep for the defensive side of the ball makes it difficult to throw.
That's a nice pass, quite a bit of air on it out there onto the sideline, but a nice over-the-shoulder take from Patterson, and it will be shy of the 1st down. But it looks as though the Nottingham offence are remaining on the field, obviously very confident about the way their defence can hold these Jets this afternoon. So 4th and 3 Nottingham looking to convert this time out. As we mentioned, get involved with this if you can. Tell us where you're watching. Are you supporting the Burgundy Fire of the Nottingham Caesars? Are you supporting the throwback Indianapolis Colts lookalikes?
I was going to go the high-flying Jets. Yeah,
with the Coventry Jets as Corey on 4th down. It's stopped, and he's stopped. And that is a great defensive effort by the Coventry Jets.
They may well have given him a gain of 1 there, but really not going anywhere.
Led by number 2, Elliot Strong, up from his safety position. But that is a turnover on downs for Nottingham. You can see Strong, just towards the bottom of your picture there, who sniffs out the run very quickly.
4 yards is a fair way to run in a 4th down situation. I mean, you're trying to double bluff the defence almost to try and get away with that, but really not effective.
And you saw Strong step up there pretty early and sniff that one out. Anyway, so Coventry get good field position on their own 39-yard line. Midfield here at Harvey Haddon is the 45, so not far away from Caesars territory. As Southall and the offense go to work once again, the ball's handed off once again, and there is a gap this time. It shuts very quickly.
It looks like they're going to give them 3 or 4 yards there. Although the running back seems to have spotted it 2 yards ahead of where he went down.
And that was Aaron Ben who took the carry there, number 23 for the Jets. But a good positive run for Coventry on 1st down. It's really important at this stage of the game that Coventry do try and get that 1st down on this series.
Yeah, I think they'd be happy just to try and move the ball. They've really struggled this year doing that. Falcons being one of the notable games. They got a 1st down on the 1st drive, and after that they just spent the day going backwards. GM
Sean Martin did talk in our interview at the beginning of the game as Southall drops back and he's under heavy pressure and he floats the ball out, and that's a nice pass under pressure, and the catch is made by Silvio Amato, receiver.
And he did well to take that under pressure as well, with the linebacker actually trying to bat the ball down and all over him. A short pickup but a great catch.
And Southall did well to stay in and stand in that pocket with the rush coming off the edge, off his right edge as he was looking, and throw into the face of the rush. And often that, if you can do that and throw from where the rush is coming from, that's where the space is. So 3rd and 4 after a pickup of 3 on the play. Showing good confidence there from Southall. See if they can pick up their first down of the afternoon. That ball is timed very well, and the ball is, and Southall is under pressure. He eludes one man, and he eludes the second man, and he's on his feet, and he pots the ball downfield, and it's just over the head of the closest receiver, who was Matt Truslove.
Yeah, he's done very, very well to get anything out of that. By anything, I mean not getting sacked.
And you thought that he was in trouble there, and he got out of the way of 2, and then it looks like It looks like big James O'Brien had a chance to take him down for a big loss, and Southall managed to wriggle his way out of that. Now, back deep to receive for the Caesars, as it was on the first punt, is Chris Peacock. It wasn't Rob Hardwick, it's Chris Peacock, a rookie player for the Caesars this year. Somebody I know very well, as he used to be a student of mine at the school I used to teach at. So I know Chris very well. He's really embraced the game. Played a lot of handball prior to switching over to American football, and this one, I don't think he'll get a chance to receive this one, as he'll let it bounce through the end zone, and that'll go for a touchback once again for Nottingham. So, signs of life from Coventry. They didn't pick up a first down, but they managed to get two positive plays prior to that incomplete pass. And like I said, GM Sean Martin before the game mentioned that this was very much a transitional year for the Jets. Sam Kendall, head coach, in place and bringing new ideas. GB coach Sam Kendall. And obviously from that perspective, breathing new life into the Jets. So obviously they're looking to win games, but I think they're very much in a place of let's try and get the foundations in place for this 2018 season.
Now 2 years removed from the Premiership.
And then hopefully, all being well, they'll be able to challenge for that promotion again in 2019. So, Denning and the Caesars offense back to work. First down on their own 20-yard line. Same formation as we've had. Corey Lawrence in the backfield, 2 receivers right, 2 left. He tries to hit that same, and Danny Johns makes the reception. And it is number 2, Elliot Strong, who tries a no-arm tackle, to be fair. And Johns bounces off him, keeps possession of the ball.
Yeah, stood strong and made that ball.
And there it is. You see Strong there tries to make just basically a shoulder, a hit rather than an actual wrap tackle. And Johns does very well to
just crosses over that marker line.
But a good pickup of 17 on the play. And the Caesars roll in again. Danny Johns' first reception of the afternoon for 17 yards. First down Nottingham on their own 37-yard line. This time trips to the left for Denning. Still Corey Lawrence still in the backfield alongside him. Trips to the left, one receiver to the right, and that receiver is Jack Winfield. And Winfield makes a grab and does very well, catches it 3 times on one play. And that's another first down.
I think he was just toying with his food.
Great concentration by Winfield.
Yeah, he does have very, very good hands. He's a slower receiver, but does know how to catch that football.
But a good big receiver as well, uses his body well. And you can see this just a 5 yards slant, a deep slant pattern really, and he makes the ball's behind him. He does well to juggle first time, then comes out of the tackle, juggles again, and then gains a couple more yards after the catch. And that is first down Nottingham after a pickup of another 17 yards.
If a receiver stood still like that as a defensive back, you really need to leather him. Really make a hit and make yourself known.
Denning again, looks over for Johns, and he's looking over the top for Johns, and that's almost intercepted. Frank Claydon with the coverage.
Would have been a great grab if he'd have pulled that in one-handed.
Trying to play receiver instead of his linebacker position there, Claydon. But had good coverage, step for step with Johns. As Corey Lawrence checks out of the game, and in comes John Holmes. John Holmes played down the stretch last year for the Caesars and had a good few carries and proved effective with what he could do.
Good running back, little different style compared to Corey. Corey a much bigger back. Holmes quickie, nippier.
Quickie.
Couldn't get the words out.
Oh, and there's another false start.
And that looks like Mike Thompson again.
To be fair, though, I mean, obviously we've called Thompson's name twice for those 2 false starts, but other than that, it's he's slotted in there.
Prior to the snap, dead ball foul, full start. Offence number 56, 5-yard penalty, second down.
I say he hasn't looked particularly out of place other than those 2 false start penalties.
No, and that very much comes down to you're not practicing there. Defensive linemen aren't going on the cadence; they're going on the snap of the ball. The offensive linemen often know the cadence, and it's a new skill to learn.
So similar to the previous offensive series for the Caesars, it's a little bit of 2 steps forward, 1 step back for the Burgundy Fire so far. Penalty which brings up 2nd and 15 for Denning in the offense, and Holmes gets the carry this time, and he picks up positive yardage, picks up 4, and then he's met with a thunderous hit.
Yeah, it was a great hit by the Jets linebackers there.
But so far, every play, whether through the air or on the ground, has resulted in positive yardage for Nottingham. other than those 2 5-yard false start penalties, things do seem to be clicking early on against the Jets.
See if they can dig deep on this 3rd and long.
It does seem very much this season like it'll be Leicester, Sandwell and Shropshire who are battling it out for promotion to the Premiership, and therefore Nottingham, Doncaster and Coventry will be looking to secure a 4th spot. Things may well change as they do during the season, but at this stage in proceedings, as Denning drops back again, looks to his left, puts the ball up the top, and he's got a man, and it's intercepted this time by Strong, who actually unfortunately puts his knee down, but a great athletic grab, not quite enough, looking for Charlie Patterson on that one. It just sort of hangs in the air on him, and Strong makes a nice grab and his knee goes down, but it will be first down Coventry inside their 10 at the 8-yard line.
Yeah, great grab there by Strong to take in that interception. One of Denning's issues from what we've seen is the number of picks he's thrown this year.
As we mentioned though, the season as a whole didn't have any pre-season games. So those first 2 games against Shropshire and Leicester, you could argue, were their sort of pre-season games. And as a result, that first Coventry outing was their first game proper. Obviously, they were 28-0 victors in that one. That could be a false start.
It did look like the offensive line jumped.
It appears to be on this end of the offensive line. Number 78.
Prior to the snap, dead ball foul, full start. Offence number 78. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
Unfortunately, don't have a name for number 78. Not that he will be too aggrieved by that.
He will just be a number.
But nevertheless, what was 1st and 10 on their own 9-yard line now sees Coventry face 1st and 15 from their own 4.
And backs up against the wall.
I'm sure you'll see some Nottingham pressure at this point.
Looks like Wilkins licking his lips there on the outside.
So Southall with 2 backs, and they do give it to the half-back, and half-back does manage to pick up a couple of yards, gains some of that penalty yardage back. And that's number 26 for Coventry that time, Amato. Again, they're going with a full-back and a half-back behind Southall in the pistol formation. Caesar's defence do get there quickly and limit the gain to 3.5, 4 yards, so it'll be 2nd and 11. 2nd and 11 at the 7-yard line of Coventry, and Nottingham will more than likely still feel that Coventry are going to run at this stage, as they do. And this time it's number 82 for the Jets. And that's Olapana.
Actually, it looks like they're going to have to call the medics over. He looks in quite a lot of pain.
He did seem to get twisted down there as he was tackled, and the helmet's come off, it's rolled away, he's not moved that lower leg. And that's always a worry when you don't actually move anywhere. And in fact, he's sort of splayed out on his front. Ordinarily, we'd roll onto our back there.
Looked like number 63 from the Caesars was tackling man Elvis Benson.
Yeah, and that looks like a nasty one.
Big man to come down on top of you.
So he is now all the way on his front, rather than being in that quite awkward position that he was. But he's still down, and he's obviously slamming the turf, as you can see on the screen there, and looks in some discomfort and frustration. So at this stage in proceedings, as we mentioned earlier on, if you would like to get in touch with us by the usual means, hashtag #NotVersusCov on this Sunday afternoon in May. Beautiful conditions out there. It's kind of typical, George, but last time we were commentating, I mean, it wasn't too bad out in Tamworth last weekend for the Karlstadt Crusaders game, but last time we were out in Leicester, it was Baltic and we were exposed to the elements. Now today it's a beautiful day and we are up under the stands of Harvey Haddon.
It was bitterly cold, but that's the British summer for you.
So, get in touch if you can. Obviously, it takes a large number of people to put on a game such as today, and we heard about from the GMs, but also there's John Burnett, who is instrumental and has been for a number of years helping to run the Nottingham outfit. So yes, I mentioned earlier on about the standings and the results so far. Standings as they are here, Leicester currently lead the division with a 3-0 record, perfect 3-0 record.
I don't think that's a surprise either.
No.
I think they are very much promotion favourites.
Absolutely, and they've proved so, and they've proved their quality in the games we've seen them play. You see Sandwell and Shropshire there tied in second place, purely Sandwell ahead in terms of the points differential. Scored 72 and conceded 44, as opposed to, it's very tight actually in terms of that differential. Shropshire scoring 81 and only conceding 39. And then we've got the lower tier of the division, if you like, with the Caesars, the Mustangs and the Jets. And I think realistically for those three teams, they will be looking to the fixtures against each other for them to pick up their wins this year.
I think Caesars could well overturn the Revolution next time they play. It was only 6-0 to the Revolution, and I seem to think the weather was a factor as well in that game.
I think the weather was a factor. I think, as we mentioned, the Caesars hadn't had any pre-season games going into that one, and for a defence to hold the Revolution as they did, and that Revolution offence is significantly better than a 6-0 decision would dictate.
Very much so. And those looking at those Falcons scores there, Falcons really showing their dominance over the rest of the league.
So, as we mentioned, get in touch with us. Not versus Cov is the hashtag. As we unfortunately is an extended delay. Might be worth at this point to give you a little bit of background on the clubs. First of all, with our visiting Coventry Jets. Jets was formed in 2004. They've also been known as the Coventry Cassidy Jets. They've been one of the most successful teams in the UK during their short history, having competed in 6 bowl games and 4 national championships over 11 years. They currently offer teams at all levels of American football in the UK, senior, university, junior, youth and flag football. So all the way through all the age groups are covered. The Jets reached 4 consecutive BAFL Brit Bowl finals from 2007 to 2010, winning the trophy in 2008 and also winning the BAFL Prem that year to secure the double. So 2008 was a very successful year for the Midlands-based outfit.
Yeah, a lot of history there, and a good squad as well. They'll be looking to regain that level of play that they once had.
If you're watching from the Coventry area and you're interested in what you see and you fancy giving it a go, the Jets train at Coventry Welsh Rugby Football Club, RFC, every Sunday, 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. and on a Wednesday evening from 7:30 until 9:30. You can contact them on Facebook, on Twitter or via Instagram. So if you are interested in getting involved with the game and you are in the Coventry area, then look them up. Any former greats, we obviously send out a media pack. Any former greats, and former head coach Jerry McManus, who sadly recently passed away, was instrumental in the success for the Jets in those glory years, and actually building and starting and building the program as well. So, yes, a big name who will be sadly missed in the game. Most memorable games last season. Final game of the season for the Jets against the Birmingham Bulls, which basically secured Division 1 status for the Coventry Jets, and for that reason, obviously, that was a big game.
Yeah, although Birmingham are doing bits really in Division 2, undefeated so far, and really showing dominance in their division.
And just as we mentioned about the difference between the Division 1 and the Premiership, I think the same can be said for Division 2 and Division 1.
If not more. If not more of a gap. A lot of, obviously teams coming out of the associate process really not playing. Having said that, some of those associate teams this year are doing really well, and some of the more established teams haven't done so well.
As you can see on screen there, Olapano unable to leave the field under his own steam, being carried off by the medics and his teammates. That's not how we want to see anybody exit a game here. So we wish him all the best and hope that injury isn't too serious and he can get back to normality as soon as he possibly can. But nevertheless, that means that the game will shortly restart. Just one final chance as the Coventry Jets retake the field on offence on this 3rd and long. To encourage you to get in touch with us, tell us how you're enjoying this stream. Got our crew here today. We've got Tom and Steve in the production booth as normal. We've got Gary on our main cameraman this afternoon. We have we have James. We've got James, who, if any of you watched the varsity, was the NTU representative on our pre and post game show, and James is operating our sideline camera this afternoon and bringing you those close-up shots that you can see right now. And obviously we've got myself and George and Jimmy Smith on the scoreboard, so a good turnout in the production booth once again for onside production. That ball is fumbled and Southall manages to pick it up, but he's just going to have to eat that, unfortunately, and that will bring up 4th down. Not the greatest QB centre exchange there, and that unfortunately
Not quite sure. Southall was expecting that that snap to come.
So he's in the pistol looking. It does actually. It looks like the centre actually may well catch himself on the way through, and that ball therefore doesn't travel where it's meant to go, and indeed it does. Unfortunately, it catches his derriere on the way through and only travels a yard or so, and Southall had no chance to field that one. So a big opportunity this time for the Nottingham outfit. Number 1, to possibly put some pressure on the punter, as that's a floaty high snap again, and the punter does have to elude it, and it's off the side of his foot, and that will put the Caesars in fantastic field position for their 3rd possession of the afternoon, as Strong downs the ball, but only downs it on his own 26-yard line, where Nottingham will take over.
Yeah, they've got to take advantage of a short field here and see if they can get things moving after that interception on the previous drive.
So, 1st down Nottingham, and that looks like being the end of the first period here, with a score of the Caesars 0 and the Jets 0.
Seem to quicken the pace each game, I think, every time. Bearing in mind we've had a 5-10 minute injury there as well.
Absolutely, and the game kicked off at 2:30. It's just gone 3 o'clock here. So sum up that first period. To be fair, there's been sparks of excitement with that Winfield 3-time catch, and Corey Lawrence managing to pick up some good chunks of yardage, but it doesn't seem to have really taken off yet.
No, I think it's very much where we thought it was going to be. Caesars moving the ball effectively, but not being able to make that final nail fit in the coffin, as it were, and the Jets really going backwards, as we've seen all year so far.
We've got looking around the stands here, we've got a fair...
A smitten.
Yeah, a smattering.
Smattering, is that the word I'm looking for?
There's a smattering of... this is an 800 capacity stand here at Harvey Haddon. There must be around about 100 people in here watching, getting out of the sun and supporting their teams. Patterson comes in motion this time, and the play is ended before it begins. And that would appear to be a false start against the offence.
Prior to the snap, dead ball foul, false start. Offence number 68. 5-yard penalty, it remains 1st down.
I'm not sure I saw anything move on the offensive line there, but evidently the officials did.
Did seem to be a lot of space around the edge there before Patterson was called dead.
Nevertheless, that will be another 5-yard penalty. That's 3 penalties so far on the Caesars, all of the 5-yard variety, all for false starts on offence.
See if they can get things right now.
So, same play, fake the jet sweep this time. Denning looks down the middle of the field and he doesn't see that man, and that man is Jordan Sinclair. And Jordan Sinclair is up near midfield and he's taken down at the midfield stripe, and that's another turnover, another interception. It appeared that Denning just didn't see him.
Yeah, and that was an easy pick for the linebacker underneath there, and this is a real issue now for the Caesars. That's the 2nd pick he's thrown in the first half alone.
I don't actually know who he's looking for there, because that ball, even if he hadn't have intercepted it, I think the next man back would have picked it off equally as easily. So just when the Caesars feel like they've got a good opportunity, they turn that ball over, and Denning will be livid with that decision.
Yeah, and that was a bad field position to waste as well.
So the Jets back to life with their best field position of the afternoon, 1 yard away from the midfield stripe on their own 44-yard line, as Southall hands the ball off. And this time the new back in the backfield is Ray Hopkins.
He is going to be marked down for a loss of I would say a good 5 yards, if not 6 there.
Now, to me as well, and if we manage to see this on the replay, Hopkins almost stood there waiting for the ball to be put in there, and obviously as a running back, you've got to trust that that quarterback is going to put the ball in there, and you've just got to hit that hole.
I think he's been generous there. They've only marked him 4 yards short. I think it was more than that.
To save Hopkins' blushes there, and we haven't got a replay on that one, but nevertheless, 2nd and 14 upcoming. Hopkins still in the backfield, along with Aaron Ben, the fullback. 2 receivers down to the right and 1 up to the left, and that's another fumbled snap.
Yeah, it's just hit him straight in the shin there. I'm not quite sure how he managed to do that one.
So still waiting for a signal about who's recovered this one. At this stage it would appear that it's the Caesars, and it is. It's signalled Caesars turnover.
And that's impressive by any means. If you look on that replay, it looks like it just hits his own shin. Almost like he's going for a fumble rooski. And it didn't quite come off.
And Johnny on the spot there for the Caesars.
Have to say that's impressive by any stretch.
So 2 turnovers on the afternoon for the Caesars, 1 now for the Jets. And unfortunately, the last 5 minutes or so has been error strewn with penalties, turnovers from both teams.
Caesars really let off lightly that time. Let's see if these interceptions get into Denning's head or whether he can get this ball moving again.
Now, for me as a coach, I'd want to be giving Denning an opportunity to throw as soon as possible again, just to build some confidence. And indeed, he drops back looking to pass, steps up, and he puts another ball up there. And this time, Strong does very well.
Gets that hand in there. And he's looking for Johns deep. Actually had a man open in the flats, but elected to drop that ball long for Johns.
And if I'm perfectly honest,
wide open in the flats as well.
For a first down as well, but he does go over the top into double coverage. And Johns had beaten that safety, but it was good coverage also by Joe Blythe, number 84 for the Jets.
And this is the issue with a lot of British teams who tend to go long, try and get it all back in one play, when you could be taking 4 or 5 yards and letting your athletes do the work.
And we know that's effective from watching one of the best teams in Europe do it last weekend.
Very much so.
Karlstad Crusaders against the Tamworth Phoenix. And obviously the Tamworth Phoenix, very much the cream of what the British game has to offer. But their defence was given the run around through a no-huddle offence. Corey Lawrence this time picks up positive yardage, and he gets out for an 8-yard pickup, does Lawrence.
Good, strong running there by Lawrence as well.
So yes, quarterback Julien and the Karlstad offence, just 5-6 yard hook patterns, dink and dunk.
But it works. Find a hole in that zone and just keep things going.
And I think what particularly worked...
it looks like Lawrence is just limping a little bit on that right leg.
What particularly worked for that Karlstad offence was the fact that they employed that no-huddle.
Very much so.
And didn't give the Tamworth defence particularly any time to regroup and reset.
I think he's perhaps just cramping up, or when stood on, he has managed to take himself off under his own will.
I think, maybe just a couple of plays. I mean, he doesn't look like he's seeking any immediate medical attention or seems overly concerned. Maybe just tweaked an ankle or...
Yeah, it looks like he's just...
explaining what's gone on. So Denning, this time with Johns in the backfield, and Johns takes his hand off, and he's got... yes, he has got first down, but the ball pops out at the end there. I think the referee is signalling that he's been down before that ball came out. So it'll be a first down Nottingham, as he's signalled.
Yeah, it looks like he stretched to get that first down, but he has been marked forward.
Second carry of the afternoon for Johns with another 4-yard pickup. So that will be a Nottingham first down on the Jets' 30-yard line.
Change a little bit slow there.
Andrew Lovett leaving the field. 2 early receptions for Lovett. So since then, really, Denning's been looking for Johns on the deep ball. Hit Winfield on that 5-yard sort of slant post type pattern.
Juggling practice, I think that one was.
Winfield's out here again, and he drops back to Denning. He throws off his back foot looking for Winfield, and that's over his head, and that was very much off Denning's back foot, and it sailed on him.
Very much wild there.
Winfield there getting instructions from Coach Warner. Coach Warner, who's taken up the head coaching duties for the Caesars this season, as Barry Bosley has taken a back seat. Barry, 70 years old now, and founder member for 34 years. The Caesars have been going from when Barry set them up, and obviously it's a struggle for anybody to step away from a club, let alone when you've been integral and instrumental both financially, but also that's Johns, I'm pretty sure that is Johns. It is Johns who manages to fall down.
It was a nice delay play there.
It was actually.
It's a new one.
Completely, and he falls down, manages to make it a daisy chain, then get back on his feet and pick up 6 yards.
Yeah, it looks like the timing works well. I'll bear that one in mind for the next time I ride to delay. Running back to drop knee.
Unfortunately, he dropped the knee before he got the ball in his hands.
He did.
So, 2nd and 10 ends up turning into 3rd and 6 after the, 3rd and 4 after the 6-yard pickup by Johns. By John Holmes. Obviously, Danny Johns is the receiver. John Holmes is the back who just picked up that latest 6 yards. Trips to the left this time for Denning. And Johns gets the handoff again, but that's a good defensive stop that time.
I'm going to mark him short by the looks of it.
And that may see Winfield come back onto the field for a field goal. Let's see what the decision is here. Field goal has been shouted, I think, if I'm hearing correctly. Now, Jack Winfield, we've mentioned him for his receiver perspective. He's also quite an accomplished kicker.
He is, but he is kicking a right-footed kicker off the right hash. Means he's got to swing across his body. We've only really, I think, seen him kick from that left hash.
Now, I was down on the field pre-game, and he was hitting from the midfield strike, 55 yards, but that's a good effort to get that ball up, and that is up and over, and a great effort after a poor snap, and that's a 40-yard field goal there from Winfield to open the scoring for the Caesars.
Yeah, great job there, just getting enough on it.
I say the snap holder does very well to get that ball up, and doesn't put Winfield off, and he manages to get his foot under the ball, scoop it through, and a 40-yard kick.
Not the best kick he's ever done, though. Which makes it even better, I think, that he's managed to chip that in.
Well, I think just the concentration of knowing that ball hasn't been snapped very well, the holder's struggled, and to continue your motion, trusting that the ball's going to be there, testament to him. So, a 40-yarder for Winfield. He was telling me before the game, I think the British record is 53 yards. I think he's keen at some point.
Eyes set on that.
He has, but at the same time, as he's mentioned, to be kicking that sort of field goal, if you are unsuccessful, it gives a massive field advantage to the opposition.
Yeah, absolutely, but it's nice to see that they've got the confidence in him to kick from that sort of range.
So Winfield puts the ball back on the tee to kick off for the Caesars in their home opener of this 2018 campaign. 2 men back deep for the Jets with the sun in their eyes, and we know Winfield can boom these, as he does, and that will be fielded at the 5-yard line. He's out to the 15, and the coverage is slow to get down there, and he's still on his feet at the 20. He's at the 30, he's at the 35, the 40, and he's dragged out of bounds, and a high tackle, but there's no flags come out.
Oh, it was a clean tackle, just up around his shoulder there.
I think any time anybody goes up high there, and that's that man again, Elliot Strong, safety, who makes a couple of men miss, gets around the left edge, and yeah, that is a clean tackle. He sort of rides up onto his neck a little bit, but there was no horse collar, no face mask there, so out to midfield. Good field position for the Jets. Let's see if they can make anything happen this time around.
I think they've got negative yardage at this point in time. That sees his defence very, very quick around the edge. Southall going down a number of times in the process.
And as with the defensive line, the offensive line don't seem to be able to contain that front 3 for the Caesars. We know we've got Andrew Wilkins, and we've got Bash in there as well, the 31, stalwart. As Southall drops back, and he's got a man coming around the edge. He has a man out wide, and that's picked! And that is picked by number 13 for Nottingham. And that's Mark Martin with the interception. Great athletic. I did think for a minute that ball had gone over Martin's head, but he leapt up, snagged that one back in. Pressure from his blind side for Southall, and Southall didn't really step into that. Tough pass to make, that deep out there, and the coverage was really good by Martin.
It wasn't the cleanest route either from the Jets, but Martin read that well and got underneath that football.
So a second Coventry turnover, 1 fumble, 1 interception now for the Jets to go with the 2 Nottingham interceptions, and Denning and the offense are back to work again inside their own territory, but close to midfield at their own 38-yard line. So, John Holmes with the carry, and he's through the secondary, out past midfield for a 16-yard pickup for another Nottingham first down. And that trap, that lovely trap play there, nice. See the guard pulling over there and sealing that right end. And John's with another fantastic run, and that wasn't working. Sorry, John Holmes rather, with another great one, which wasn't working last time we saw the Caesars
And
play.
he read the gap well, he followed his blockers, and away he went.
So first down Nottingham, inside Coventry territory. Midway through the second period here at Harvey Haddon Stadium on a glorious late May afternoon, and defensive line nearly jump as John Holmes gets the ball again, and he makes the first man miss. And then number 52, Jordan Sinclair, man who managed to snag that interception last time round.
Holmes did well there to recover. I think he got somebody managed to grasp his ankle as he went through, just stumbled.
So nearly jump offside on that right end of the defensive line. He does, yes.
Just stumbles there, manages to recover and gain an extra couple of yards.
Sinclair stands him up there, and to be fair to Holmes, Holmes powers his way through Sinclair.
Keep those legs driving.
And once again though, that's the second occasion where we've seen that ball come out, and I know the play was dead.
Looks like Corey Lawrence is back in the backfield.
So that injury wasn't overly serious then for Lawrence. And Denning this time drops back, and Lawrence is in pass protection. Ball over the middle looking for Winfield, and Winfield, again that ball slightly behind him.
It looked like he was going to make it on the second attempt. Not sure if he just caught the linebacker coming up.
Yeah, so again, Denning with good time, could have stepped into that pocket a little bit more, and for me, that coverage is really good again from the Coventry defence. Cy Lewis there with the coverage, number 31.
The defensive backs have really been a bonus for the Jets today. The front seven, as it were, haven't been effective stopping that run. If they can at least cut down the passing game, they're going to make it a little harder for the Caesars defense. Caesars offense.
Elliot Strong there playing that single high safety, who's really led by example. So 3rd and 8, maybe 7, as Denning has time again. And he's gone over the top, and he has got a man this time, and the ball is caught. And that's Charlie Patterson with the reception, number 17, as the smattering goes wild, and that's a pickup of 30.
Looked like Cy Lewis was caught stargazing that time.
I think he was that time, and that is just an out and up by Charlie. And Charlie on the out and up gets away from his man. And a fantastic pickup.
Puts the Caesars in a real positive position. See if they can punch it in with 5 yards to go. See if they elect to pass or to run. So Winfield's breaking out to the right-hand side.
And really, this is the time where you've got to use a player like Winfield with that big body guy inside the 20. But you've also got Corey Lawrence, who's not easy to stop himself. But having said that, Lawrence is met in the backfield. And the first man there was that man again, Elliot Strong, number 2.
Came through very, very fast.
He does, and you can see the way that obviously the Jets are committing to that run. As Jimmy has just whispered in my ear, this is an ideal opportunity for play action. Remember, we saw at Tamworth, we saw that little
beautiful fade pass into the back of the end zone.
Yeah, fake the run.
Julian was on point that day.
Yeah, and in fact at the varsity game as well, we covered the NTU and the University of Nottingham students, and we saw a little a wildcat play where the running back got the ball and then dunked it over the top with a little basketball jump shot. And there is a pass out looking for Kyle Pearson that time.
A lot of pressure that time on Simon Denning. 2 men coming around the edge.
So yeah, and he does well, Denning,
one
to get
through the middle,
off.
one round the edge. So.
And once again though, that Denning not having the opportunity to step up into that pass, which is why the ball floated a little bit. This will bring up 3rd down, and I think Nottingham will be very disappointed if they don't get 6 on the board on this drive. The heat will be beginning to tell on both these sides. Coventry not bringing the biggest squad with them this afternoon. If you're on that far sideline, there's probably maybe 15, 16 men on the sideline as opposed to the 11 on the field, whereas Nottingham's bench does look a little stronger, and Well, a little more heavily occupied at least. Denning then receives both sides. Pressure coming again. He tries to get the ball off, and that's picked on the goal line. And this could be 6 going the other way. And he's at midfield. And Corey Lawrence has got an opportunity to make a challenge. And that is intercepted, and Pearson eventually brings him down. There is a flag on the play.
Well, and that's 3 picks in the first half alone, and that will be a worry for the offensive coordinator. You can't allow that to happen within 5 yards of the opponent's goal line.
And that ball, and Denning again just
really went to nowhere.
He just whips that ball off without using his body or his feet. And that's Lawrence does well to try and come back. And
during the return, illegal block in the back by the return team.
I think
number 56.
I think that
10-yard penalty from the spot of the first down.
Sorry, I think that was Frank Claydon with the interception, and a big pick there. 3rd interception, as you say, George, of the afternoon, and that one hurts because that's right on the goal line.
Yeah, and that's things. Well, that's what you can't afford to do, particularly in a close game like this. 3 points up, and we're probably halfway through the second quarter.
I did think for a minute that one was going to go all the way.
Very much so. If Kyle Pearson and Corey Lawrence hadn't chased that ball down, he was gone.
And this time the ground gain does get some positive yardage from the Coventry offence.
3 yards. It looks like they spotted them that time.
It's number 23. That's the fullback Aaron Ben with the carry that time, as he leaves the field and replaced by Freddie Davidson. So 2nd and 7 Coventry, looking to open their account on the afternoon, and indeed their account on the season. 2nd and 7. Freddie Davidson in the backfield this time for the Jets. 2 receivers either side for, and Davidson does get the ball and steps beautifully to his right. And he's got to see him, and he's got a first down and more before Bash brings him down.
Yeah, Wilkinson overly aggressive there on the edge, and Davidson just finds a seam in behind him, although he looks a little slow to get up.
So Davidson comes in for the first time and picks up a good chunk of yardage, and the Jets offense is moving now on the Caesars 30-yard line.
First down of the day for them.
So let's see if Coventry can get in the end zone. Or at the very least, as Davidson switches to the left-hand side of Southall. Southall, and that's fumbled again, and that ball is on the floor, and there's 2 Caesars there, and it looks like
Bash is the man that's recovered.
Ashley Matthews has come up with the ball, and that's another turnover for the Jets, 3 apiece.
And it's very much handling issues that the Jets have been struggling with. They've had 2 bad snaps, and this time it was, a bad snap, but also the dance between the running back and quarterback wasn't great.
So, first down, Nottingham, in this tale of turnovers in this first period. 3 interceptions for the Caesars. 1 interception, 2 fumbles for the Jets. As Denning hands the ball off this time to John Holmes, and John Holmes picks up positive yardage, a gain of 3. Brings up 2nd and 7 for the Burgundy Fire. That ground game does appear to be working again this week for Nottingham, and they'll be pleased about that.
Well, I think from what we've seen so far, they're going to have to rely on it with Denning being as inconsistent as he's been so far. And that's it's an issue they've had over the last couple of years with quarterbacks and chopping and changing, and the amount of interceptions that they're throwing. They never get a chance to settle into a game.
And that looks like being the first timeout of the afternoon called by the Jets. So at this point, during that timeout, we can
timeout called by the defence.
Start bringing you up to date.
First charged timeout.
Oh, apologies, sir. Start bringing you up to date with some scores from around the country this afternoon. In Division 1, Gateshead Senators are taking on the Glasgow Tigers, and they're currently, the Senators are trailing 13-6 in the fourth quarter. That was a 1 o'clock kickoff. Oxford Saints also in Division 1, and the Solent Thrashers 13-9 at half time. Up into the Prem, 0-0 again for the Manchester Titans and the Edinburgh Wolves in the second quarter. Interesting scoreline there.
Yeah, well, that will be a key game in that Premiership North.
The Olympians 17-6 ahead of the Farnham Knights. In the Premiership again. Back into Division 1 in the same division as the one we're watching this afternoon. Leicester are taking on Shropshire, and Leicester are currently 7-0 ahead in the first quarter against the Shropshire Revolution. Interesting. Nil-nil. Phoenix and Merseyside Nighthawks 0-0 at the moment in the first quarter. That was a 3 o'clock kickoff though, so that one has only been going about 25 minutes. The Bristol Aztecs take on the London Blitz at 3:30 this afternoon as well. We'll keep you posted with all those games and more during the afternoon. So second down, Denning dropped back to pass again, and this time his man over the middle, and that is Patterson once again. And Patterson bobbled that one, and that was just over the head of Jordan Sinclair, who was looking for another pick.
Didn't have the tightest spiral on it, as it left his hand, looked to wobble quite a lot.
But nevertheless, that's a 20-yard pickup again for Denning.
Did well to make that grab.
So first down Nottingham, the ball's moving again. Patterson over 60 yards receiving on the afternoon already as Denning looks to drop back again. He's got Winfield on the slant. Winfield picks up 7 yards.
There was a big hit there from behind. Cy Lewis, the tackling man.
But a nice pass that time in front of his man, and Winfield comes to the sideline to Coach Warner, taking the instructions back to the huddle. This is a nice drive this time, and I think, like you say, to try and get some momentum built with positive play after positive play, and that will also help Denning as well. And Denning being the man he is, yes, he's thrown those 3 interceptions, but I think he's the sort of character that won't let that bother him too much psychologically, as he hands the ball off to John Holmes this time, and Holmes has got a big gap up the middle, and he's tackled by Sinclair, but not until he's got inside the 15 to the 14-yard line, and another first down.
Yeah, big holes up the middle of that defense. And that Caesar's offense really utilising it.
So another pickup of about 16 there for John Holmes. John Holmes close to 50 yards on the afternoon already before half-time. And there's a official's timeout there, unless that's been called. It might be the 2-minute warning, is it?
Be a very, very quick half if it is.
It is the 2-minute warning. He's signalling to the Coventry bench, and he'll shortly signal over to the Nottingham bench. It is, and that is our 2-minute warning at the end of this second quarter here in Nottingham.
Flying through.
Our score currently, the Nottingham Caesars 3 and the Coventry Jets 0, but Nottingham will be hoping that they will be adding to that advantage before the break.
The closer the Caesars get to that end zone, the tighter the coverage is going to become.
Darren Chown, number 73, with the snap as ever, and he's got that man on the same pattern again, and that's Patterson. No flags, touchdown Caesars.
Yeah, wide open. It will have been Cy Lewis who was covering that side up.
And it's exactly the same pass that Patterson hauled that long ball in before. If you watch, he comes from the slot on, then out and up, and he turns his man, and actually, yeah, it is, you're right, it is Cy Lewis, number 31, who was in coverage, but that quick out and up from Denning to Patterson.
Yeah, that route very, very effective. Or proving to be so far. Baiting the defensive back down before turning up and adding that little bit of speed booster, and into the end zone he goes.
Patterson's 7th reception of the afternoon. First TD. Kick is up, and the kick is good from Winfield, which takes the score inside the 2-minute warning to the Nottingham Caesars 10 and the Coventry Jets 0. Nice drive that time from Nottingham.
Yeah, I think Simon Denning redeemed himself there. Nice pass to finish it off and touchdown as well.
Nice mix of run and pass though. John Holmes effective on the ground.
Yeah, Coventry really need to find a way to shut down that middle of their defence, not allow anything to come up there.
Back deep to receive for the Jets is the two names we've mentioned already. Elliot Strong, number 2, and Freddie Davison, number 3. They'll be hoping to ignite a late charge from the Jets in this first half. We know that Strong is effective with the ball in his hands. Mentioned earlier on in the game that we managed to catch up with both GMs, both general managers before the game. Sean Martin for the Jets and Barry Bosley for the Caesars. Strong fields the ball at his 4-yard line. And again, the coverage is quite slow, and he steps, and he's up to the 40, and he's up to midfield. He's up to the 40, he's on his feet at the 30, the 20, the 10, and that is the Jets' first touchdown, not only of the afternoon, but of the season. No flags, 96 yards. Elliot Strong with the kickoff return for a touchdown.
And not to take anything away from Elliot Strong, because that was a great read and he read his blocking very, very well. But the kick coverage was absolutely atrocious from the Caesars. I mean, the first attempt there, well, it wasn't even an attempt. It just looks slow.
Strong goes untouched, 96 yards, and what a way to respond. Coventry Jets touchdown.
Let's see if that gives them the encouragement to take this game all the way.
Well, game on. They said, GM Sean Martin, in my interview with him pre-game, they said we're looking for progress and little steps, and that is a big step. And if the Jets needed a spark, then their special teams and Elliot Strong have just given it to them. Wow.
Great play by Elliot Strong. And he's been a real asset to them today as well. He's had that earlier interception, and he's been all over the place, really.
He's led by example, definitely. So, as I was mentioning, we a timeout called by the Jets. I think that was because...
Let's go. Timeout called by the offence. Second charge timeout.
Yeah, I think that was called mainly because the clock was ticking down and there was a little confusion. I'd be surprised if they're going to try 2 here, having got the score back to 10-6, 10-7.
Well, why not?
Well, that's true. So you can see this kickoff again, and as you said about the coverage, I mean, Strong fields the ball on his own 4-yard line, and you don't see a Caesar player.
Not even an attempted tackle.
1 minute and 20 seconds.
So 1 minute 20. 1 minute 20 left in the half here, as we see Strong continue that fantastic.
You could understand it perhaps if he'd broken a couple tackles, but he was clean through. Not even a fingertip on him.
No Caesars in the picture until he got 15, 16 yards.
I was going to make a joke about my my love life and being untouched.
No. So the kick is up and good, which takes our score to the Nottingham Caesars 10 and the Coventry Jets 7 with 1:20
Our director laughed, so it's okay.
So yeah, I've tried to say this a number of times now, but I managed to catch up with GMs. Sean Martin for the Jets and Barry Bosley for the Caesars before the game, and we'll be bringing you those interviews at the half-time break.
Do you think we'll see an onside kick here? Just a cheeky one?
No.
I would.
Not with 1 minute 20 left and the fact that the ball has been moved relatively. I mean, there's
got to keep that momentum going.
You have. There've been the turnovers from the Caesars, but I don't think at this stage, having got the score back this close and chasing your first win, I don't think you potentially gift the Caesars with a short field with 1:20 left.
Take the risk. Take the risk.
Stranger things have happened. But anyway, yeah, we'll be hearing from Sean Martin, GM of the Jets, and Barry Bosley, GM of the Caesars, during the half-time interval. Number 88 there for the Jets. That's Brad Jackson with kicking duties, and the ball is fielded and dropped but it is going to be brought back and jumping and cutting around. That looks like Rob Hardwick. It is Rob Hardwick who looks to turn the corner, gets out past the 25-yard line to the 28, and it will be Nottingham first down with around about 1:10 to go.
And it was Amoto that made that tackle, as Hardwick ran laterally across there.
And the difference there between that kickoff and look at the amount of Jets players that are there forming a barrier, and then good lateral pursuit, as you've mentioned, to bring Hardwick out of bounds inside his own 30.
Seemed to be more enthusiasm on their kickoff team there. And we'll be around about 1 minute and 10 seconds left. Let's see if Caesars can muster something else up and get some more points on the drive before the half.
Well, Denning will have confidence back. That hook, that out and up has worked a couple of times now for big gains to Charlie Patterson. Patterson's in the slot here again, nearest to the camera on that side of the field, with Winfield outside him. And Denning drops back again, and this time Patterson goes over the middle, and he looks for Patterson, and he's wide open, and Denning just overthrows him. That does stop the clock, but that should have been another big pickup for the Caesars.
Yeah, that was really poor by Denning. Loads and loads of time. Patterson wide open and really into no man's land.
Little mesh concept there as both receivers came over the middle, and obviously as a result the corresponding defenders sort of got caught up with each other.
Coventry will look to adjust with the amount of broken zone coverages or the amount of blown coverages full stop that they've had so far. They'll have to make some adjustments over the half.
So 4 receivers again with Corey Lawrence in the backfield, and Lawrence gets the ball this time, and great defensive play that time from the Jets. Pickup of 1 for Lawrence. And that looks like being a timeout for Nottingham. No, that's waiting for the official.
Time called by the offence. 48 seconds remaining in the half. 48.
Interesting call there. 48 seconds left. You're on third and 9. You're stopping the clock with 48 seconds left. Number one, what you're doing is you're relying heavily on Jack Winfield's boot if you're not successful on third down.
He's good, but that is a long kick.
I didn't mean for a field goal. Deary. I obviously meant for a change of possession in terms of field position.
I thought.
Yeah, I know. And you've not been out in the, well, you have been out in the sun coaching this morning. It's obviously got to your head if you think I was intending for Winfield to kick a field goal from here.
You know, stranger things have happened.
No, they haven't. Not that strange. But you're obviously you're relying on the fact that Winfield will pin the Coventry defense, the Coventry offense rather, back deep in its own territory. But obviously at the same time, you're hoping if we can pick up with trips to the right this time, Winfield on his own to the left, and Winfield drops back and he looks, and he's got bags of time, and he flips this ball out. That's almost intercepted, and it is intercepted once again by the Jets.
Whether they call him in or out.
He's been called out of bounds, I believe, and I think that official on that sideline, and where the ball is coming back to the original line of scrimmage. So
and that really should have been a 4th interception for this Jets defensive squad.
Denning with acres of time. And actually on this near side of the field, we've got Winfield going up against Cy Lewis, and Cy Lewis obviously has been picked on a little bit on those 2 out and ups with Patterson, and the size differential.
I think he was unlucky actually to be called out. Looking at that replay, it's always difficult to tell from this angle, but it does look like Oliver Smith caught that inbounds.
That's Col Oliver Smith. Oliver Smith being a double-barrel surname rather than his name being Oliver Smith. Just wanted to clarify that, just so that. So here we go then. Winfield does have the responsibility of turning this field position around, and it's a high hanging kick, and Strong's underneath it, and he's getting out of the way, but it takes a Coventry bounce, and Nottingham drop on it on the 31-yard line, and Coventry will have another opportunity.
There'll be around about 30 seconds left, you would think. Let's see if they can get this ball moving. They had a couple first downs on the previous drive before a bad snap, bad handoff.
So we mentioned earlier on about getting in touch with us here at the show. If you'd like to let us know who you're supporting, anybody you know out there representing either the Jets or the Caesars, get in touch with us here. Hashtag Not versus Cov. We'd love to hear from you. Give you a shout out on air. As Coventry begin their latest offensive possession of this one. Pistol formation with the fullback and a halfback, and the halfback does get the ball, and it's the fullback playing halfback, Aaron Ben. And that's going to be timeout Coventry, I believe, and they
Be their last one. Well, I thought it was, but
so Ben isn't really credited with any positive yardage there, even though it looked like he picked up a couple. Here's the word from our official.
Timeout called by the offence. Third and final charged timeout. 20 seconds remaining.
So
20 seconds.
There we go. Coventry's final timeout. 20 seconds left. You would expect the fact they've taken a timeout there, that they're going to look to try and put this ball long, which will give opportunity for the Caesars secondary.
20 seconds left. You've got 2-3 attempts.
2nd and 8. Southall drops back to pass. He's looking. He's gone over the middle. He's got him. Oh, and it's in and out of the hands of his intended receiver, Matt Truslove. It was a little bit behind Truslove, but he
Would
should
have been a huge pickup if he'd have wrapped that in.
He hauled that one behind Truslove, but yeah, should have been able to pull that one in. But it does stop the clock at least. So 3rd and a long 8, maybe 9. Looking at where that down marker is. Southwell and the offence, twins either side this time in that spread formation. And he takes a knee, and obviously Coventry with that last incompletion feel there isn't enough time. And the Caesars interestingly take a timeout, but that's not a bad play actually, because it's now 4th down, which means that they will have to kick the ball away. Will give Nottingham an opportunity at least on a return, if not with one offensive play under their belt.
Timeout called by the defence. Second charged timeout. 5 seconds remaining in the half. 5 seconds.
So 5 seconds left in the half.
Give them. Well, it'd be interesting to see what they do here.
Now, as well, that was the 2nd timeout for Nottingham. So there's one school of thought which you might say, well, Coventry could just take a knee here. But if they do that, Nottingham will call. Well, the clock would stop for change of possession anyway, wouldn't it? So yes, this ball is going to be, you would think, kicked away.
I think you have to give it a go.
For me, if I'm Coventry, I kick it.
With 5 seconds left, just chuck it deep and see what happens.
And they have got, yeah, well, their offence are still out there, obviously, and like you say, rather than give the possession to Nottingham,
they've lined up in punt form, expecting that punt.
Yeah,
so.
well, the defence have, and I think quite right, that ball is run. Now, will that? It depends whether or not that will run the 5 seconds off the clock.
They'll be looking for Winfield if there is time.
There will be. It's a good job Winfield's down on the sideline ready. And it is going to be a change of possession.
I think they're just debating whether it...
And when we mentioned earlier on about Winfield kicking from 55 yards and maybe never doing that because of the fact it would turn possession over should it fail, this is the ideal opportunity to take a long field goal. And I think officials still not decided whether that is the half or not. No, they've spotted the ball. So that must mean that there are a couple of ticks left on the clock. And therefore an opportunity for Winfield to slot his 2nd field goal after the afternoon.
That ball will be spotted on their 30, so it'll make it a 47-yard kick.
Yeah.
If he's lined up approximately 7 yards from the snap.
Yeah. He was hitting them from a good 7-8 yards deeper than this in warm-ups. That possibly was because I was holding though. But no, here we go. So an unexpected opportunity here for the Caesars special teams unit to try and stretch their lead out once again.
It looks like Strong's going to look to return this if it drops short.
And why not? Snaps down, kick is through, and that is going to drop short, I think. And he fields it, but he fields it on the back line. And that is a touchback, and that will basically be the end of the first half.
Not quite sure if that didn't catch a fingertip on the way through. But,
So this first half kind of splutters to an end, really, here at Harvey Haddon here in Nottingham. The hometown Caesars, with the slight advantage, looked to be in control, 10-0 ahead, until Elliot Strong took the ball 96 yards for the opening score of the Coventry season, not only the Coventry afternoon, but we have the score here in Nottingham of the Nottingham Caesars 10 and the Coventry Jets 7. We'll be back for more commentary of the second half after the break. Until that time, we'll leave you with the interviews from both general managers. We'll see you after this. Good afternoon, Sean. How's it going?
Good afternoon, Matt. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Welcome to
Good.
a sunny Harvey Haddon.
It's always sunny in Nottingham, apparently.
It always seems to be at the
Every
end
time
of May.
we come here, it's
does.
always sunny and warm.
It
yeah.
does.
Yeah.
You've obviously had a bit of a tumultuous first part of the season down at the Jets. A lot of changes in the off-season, and we've just been discussing beforehand. Where do you feel the Coventry Jets are right now at this point on May the 20th?
Well, to be quite honest, we're a little bit beyond where we'd say we'd want to be. Obviously, as you said there, we had some issues at the start of the season with the chairman stepping down and the head coach, or the new head coach, stepping in and then stepping away, which caused a little bit of disruption and just set us back a couple of weeks. But we're really pleased with the way the lads have responded. We've got a good group of players now, young players, probably more rookies than we would like. But hey, we go with what we got. We've got a good young head coach that we can build on and build a future on, and that's what we're looking to do. The Jets are in that transition stage of rebuilding and getting ready, to push on for titles and back into the Premiership again, where we want to be.
You mentioned about, obviously, Coach Kendall, the head coach. You're in a different capacity this year, where some people may recognise you from,
Yep.
GM this year. What does Coach Kendall bring to the Jets?
Well, he's a young coach, but he's a new coach, and it's exciting to see what he brings in. There's an excitement, there's a new feel about it. New players have come in, so they're going to grow together, they're bonding together. He's experienced coach even for his age. He's a GB coach, so he brings a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge with him, and we're pleased to have him here.
So far this season, unfortunately, yet to get anything in the win column so far. It might be fair to say offense has struggled a little bit to move the ball. What have you been trying to focus on over the last few weeks as a team to try and put that right?
Well, as you say, we need to get the offence to move the ball a little bit more. So obviously we're looking at our running game and our line work and things like that. But the enthusiasm's there, the knowledge is there. It's now putting it all into action and just letting it all gel. And as anybody in football will tell you, once that line starts to click together, it's a different ball game, and that's what we're looking to do. Get that click, that gel together, dominate at the line, and there we go.
Some would say, coming off the back of a 28-0 loss last week out at home to the Caesars, that you guys actually might be in a more enviable position than Nottingham, in the fact that Nottingham might see this and be a little bit nonchalant, and you guys are coming here really with a bit between your teeth.
Yeah, I think we were, to be fair, we were disappointed with that result. Last year, as you know, we had 3 games. They were all close, tight games, and to see the difference there, the 28 points was disappointing. It wasn't what we were expecting, it wasn't what we were looking for. So there's a lot of people out there who want to try and prove that actually, that isn't the Jets, and the Jets are better than that. And, whether we walk away with a win today or not, it's the performance that we take from the field that matters to the Jets going forward.
Sure. Roster today, you bring a pretty full-strength team up to Nottingham?
It's a good strength team. We've got a couple of players with injuries and, knocks and whatever. But it's early in the season, like I say, a lot of rookies. And as you know, it's a tough game to come into when you're brand new to it, not coming through the ranks like with the juniors and the youth. You're coming in at a senior level straight away, and it's a wake-up call to some players, and it's a tough game, and some knocks and bruises there. But they'll adapt to it, and they want to come back. They're back. They want to play, and we're looking to get a good result today.
So finally, realistically, you said this is a bit of a transitional year for the Jets. Yes. Obviously, each team has sort of short-term, mid-term, long-range goals. What's the sort of goal of the Jets for the 2018 season?
Well, the 2018 season, obviously, a couple of years ago would have been one for pushing on for the divisional title, etc., etc. We've got to be sensible. We're basically 1 year behind where we want to be. So it's about consolidating where we are, building on that for the future, and pushing forward. It's about getting wins. It's about building the team ethos, if that's fair enough terminology. Yeah. To build a club that everybody's going to be proud in, and hopefully take us back to the glory days of yesteryear.
Well, as ever, Sean, it's a pleasure to speak to you. It's a pleasure to welcome you back to Nottingham, and we wish you and the Jets all the very best for this afternoon.
Thank you very much, Matt.
Take care.
Thanks a lot.
last time we covered you, you had a relatively heavy defeat to Leicester, but your last game, you ended up beating Coventry 28-0. What's testament to that turnaround, and how do you approach today's game with it being the Jets again?
I think it was commitment from players on that Coventry game, but again, you can't sit back. We've got to work twice as hard today to make sure we get that result that we need.
Players today, obviously the last few weeks there's been two quarterbacks in the mix, with Ash and with Simon Denning. Liking what you're seeing from those guys?
Yeah, I think they've both worked hard and they've both got their own individual style. So, we've got to work it out which is the best for that particular team that we're playing. So my offensive coordinator, Coach Warner's doing a cracking job.
Last week out as well against the Jets, you managed to get the running game going with Corey and John being very successful getting in the end zone.
Yes, that's right.
What was the difference? Why did that ground game work better last week when it hadn't done in the past?
I think what we've got to remember is that pre-season, we had games planned for the pre-season, but unfortunately teams let us down. So the first two games were like a pre-season for us. So we was totally new. So got a lot of new lads. So a game situation to them was something that they'd not experienced before.
And obviously last week you did win, as we mentioned, 28-0. Does that stick in the players' mind, or how do you get them out of that mindset whereby this is going to be easy today?
We're starting again today. This is a fresh start. No scores, no nothing. It's 0-0. We go out there and we've got to put points on the board to win.
So, as you mentioned, no pre-season games. So those first two games against Shropshire and then against Leicester were kind of those pre-season, get the cobwebs out of the way.
That's right.
Do you think then what we saw against Coventry is a little bit more about for what we're in store with for the rest of the season from the Caesars?
Yeah, I do. I think we've got a strong team. Everybody turns up to training, then we've got a better chance. But it's like every other team. They all suffer with the problems of people not turning up or whatever. We've been getting probably 30, 40 down at training, which is a lot. But when you've got a 60 roster, you're looking for those extras.
And are there any notable absentees today that you would have liked to have had here, either whether it's injury or otherwise?
I haven't been told of any, so I don't know.
Obviously, you're taking a bit more of a GM role this year rather than sort of a coaching side of things. Has it been a bit of a struggle to adapt to that change a little bit?
Of course it is. After 34 years of starting and running the team, what I've tried to do is I've tried to stand 2 or 3 steps back, because if I'm involved in I'm going to be shouting and carrying on. I'm a very quiet sort of guy. So standing back, letting the guys take a step forward, and they're doing a cracking job. All of them have stepped up and took so much pressure off me.
Well, thank you very much for welcoming us back here to Harvey Haddon. It's a fantastic place for football. I mean, I think in the nation, I don't think there's very many places better to play this game. And on a day like today, we should be set for a really good game.
I think you're right and all. And don't forget, national finals. You could plenty of space here for the national finals. We'll welcome them. Be great.
Thanks so much for your time, Coach. Have a great game and enjoy it as much as you can.
All right. Take care.
They'd have opted to kick.
Yep, gotcha. Have you got a microphone on?
Yeah.
You got the microphone? We're all good. Okay. As soon as it was given to me, I was thinking I'll be paranoid the whole day about that happening. No, it's good. I think they're going to come back soon.
So welcome back to sun-drenched Harvey Haddon Stadium here in Nottingham, where we are broadcasting with Onside Productions this afternoon the matchup between the Nottingham Caesars and the Coventry Jets. You can see that currently we are at the half with the hometown Caesars holding a narrow 10-7 advantage. What do you make of that first half, George?
The second quarter was, I think, different to what we were expecting. Jets defense doing some great work, a number of turnovers, and of course that brilliant kick return by Elliot Strong to take it all the way into the house for their first score of their game, or this game, but also for their season so far. So
I think it has been a game of turnovers. You kind of thought Nottingham were taking the ascendancy. A field goal opened the scoring by Jack Winfield, 40-yard field goal no less, and field goals in Brit ball are a sort of rare sight, but Jack Winfield seems to be progressing very well on that dimension. So that opened the scoring in the second quarter. It was 0-0 at the end of the first, and then a nice offensive drive with two big passes culminated in the Caesars' first touchdown of the afternoon, where Simon Denning found Charlie Patterson on an out and up for a 30-yard score. Now at that point Nottingham looked in complete control, but from the ensuing kickoff, as you've mentioned, Elliot Strong, who has definitely been the leader on the field, and you can see him, or you will see him shortly, he's back there to receive.
It's the point when you're most vulnerable. Once you've just scored.
And Strong took the ball back 96 yards to pay dirt, and then Coventry had another opportunity towards the end of the half. But having said that, the Nottingham defence held, and Winfield closed the half out with another 40-yard attempt, which just dropped short. So Winfield kicks off, and it's a little squib kick this time.
Not Winfield that kicked that time.
Fielded by Amato, and Amato takes the ball out past his 35-yard line up to about the 36, where Coventry will open the third quarter on offence.
Better kick coverage that time from the Caesar Special Teams unit.
Who kicked that one then, George? Didn't quite
looked like number 86, Thomas Harrison.
Okay. Interesting, because Jack Winfield, I think Jack is he down on the sideline there? Yeah, I can see him there. He's just catching the ball, warming his hands up from Ash, but nevertheless, kicking duties possibly temporarily passed over. But here we go then. So third quarter action, slight change of formation this time as Southall goes from under centre, and there were some issues in the QB centre exchange as the ball is handed off. Oh, and Freddie Davidson is met in the backfield.
And that looks like that big man Elvis Benson was the man that made the hit.
So from the traditional I formation, that's a fullback or halfback, two receivers and a tight end, and Davison is introduced to Benson, as you say, for a loss of 2.
Yeah, great play by the big nose tackle.
2nd and 12 upcoming for the Jets, that same formation. This is a very traditional football formation. Fullback or halfback, receiver either side and one tight end, and this time Southall rolls out and fakes the pass, and he's snagged by
Wilkins is the man there. He's calling for a horse collar, but no, that was clean. I think he just managed to grab the jersey.
I like the idea. I like the concept.
Well, there is a flag now.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, and that's exactly what the call is going to be from the signal from the official.
I think he was unlucky there to be called for it.
And Ash Matthews is pleading his case.
Just have a look here on the replay, but it looked to me like Wilkins grabbed the shirt, not the collar.
And Wilkins did well because he crashed in on that play action. And he does well to get back out to Southall. Now he starts looking.
Looking at that angle, he has grabbed that collar.
Personal foul, horse collar tackle. Defence number 22. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
Yeah, the crowd here aren't overly pleased with that.
Actually,
call.
looking at that slowed down replay, it was the right call.
And looking where the official's standing, he was in the perfect position to call
not
that as well.
not an aggressive horse collar by any means, but that hand did slip up there, and fair play. It was a good spot by the official.
I like what Coventry tried to do there, though. They've got that same formation for both plays. They run it on first down. They fake that same run on second down. And actually, the defensive line of the season, particularly the defensive ends, did crash down onto that play action.
Southall's got to get that ball away quicker, though.
But yeah, like you say, he has got to get that ball off, but he can only get the ball off if the coverage breaks down completely. And the linebacker actually for the Caesars did take the tight end option away from Southall, so he did well not to just try and force that ball in there, to be fair. But nevertheless, it still results in a first down. And inside Caesars territory are Southall and the Jets. And Southall hands off to Davison, and Davison tries to come out to the right-hand side, and he picks up positive yardage. And then that's Rob Hardwick.
Monster thud.
The electrician delivers 30,000 volts.
That was awful. That was awful.
Yeah, that was awful, I know.
That was bad on my, that.
Yeah.
Leave the puns to me,
You know,
please.
you have to try these things. Just like when you're playing the game, you have to try certain plays, and if sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. You know.
That was awful.
But
you can tell you're a father. Bad dad jokes all over.
Nevertheless, Davison manages to pick up 4 yards, 3 yards, brings up 2nd and 7.
Should have gone with the electrician lights him up.
But Hardwick does manage to make a beautiful tackle. High snap this time. Southall drops back. He's got time. He's got a man, and it's intercepted. Oh, it's not
it's
intercepted.
Popped out. It looked like Ashley Matthews was the man that got the catch, but not quite sure what happened there.
Well, it actually looked like Ashley Matthews and Andrew Thomas were almost fighting over that ball, both trying to grab it, and then it popped out like a bar of soap from both of them. Let's see if we can see that again. This time, there have been issues with the snap being low, and this time, that snap almost goes over Southall's head.
Did well to bring it in, yeah.
And he pops down over the middle, and you can see the linebackers there. Good coverage from the pair of them. And Matthews gets on it first. Oh, well, yeah, it just pops out of Matthews' hands.
It was
anyway.
a brave throw to 3 linebackers licking their lips there in that coverage.
3rd down, little receiver screen, and the receiver, unfortunately, I think he made the reception, but he made the reception slipping to the ground, and therefore it's a loss of 3 yards.
Yeah, not a clean throw by any means from Southall that time.
We say about those linebackers stood there licking their lips, and you'll be aware from sort of the training and various bits and bobs you do as a quarterback, sometimes you get blind to those linebackers and you're very much focusing on your own receivers, and that's been the case for Denning a couple of times this afternoon.
Yeah, it has. But they were dropped a fair way off. They weren't particularly hidden by the offensive line, and they were eager.
So here's an interesting call. 4th down, 4th and 9, just on quite close to midfield. It's on the 39-yard of the Caesars, and Southall and the Jets electing to go for it, and they come this side. Oh, and that's a good play, and that's Hardwick again. And that ball wasn't caught. That's an incomplete pass. But had it been caught, Hardwick was there to
light him up.
But nevertheless, good read. You could see Hardwick coming in straight away. He sniffs that one out. He sees the receiver dropping into the flats there.
And it was quite a lofted pass for into that
pass out to the flats.
Yeah, into that zone.
So turnover on downs for the Jets, and Nottingham will have their first offensive possession of the afternoon.
Really has been all about the defence so far today.
Denning remains in the game at quarterback. So 1st down Nottingham on their own 39-yard line. The sun looking away from the direction the Caesars are travelling at the moment, but that will make it tricky for the receivers looking back for the ball in this 3rd quarter. As Denning takes the ball, hands it off to John Holmes, and John Holmes is met as he gets back close to the line of scrimmage.
Coventry's defence seems to have made some adjustments to tighten up that central gap there. Struggled early on in the first to stop the inside run.
Haven't really seen any sort of play action yet from Nottingham this afternoon. It's very much been either, and even the inside reads have been very much designed to be handed off and then handed off. But then Denning isn't the sort of quarterback that you particularly want running with the ball.
No, he's not the most athletic quarterback they've got on the team by any means.
Now, if A.D. Giles was in there playing quarterback, he'd actually those zone read plays. He wouldn't give the ball to the running back ever. He'd take those, and if I tell you what, if Stannard have ever had a zone read option, no one would have got the ball. As Denning goes down the field, and it's intercepted in and out of the hands of Lovett. And this time it's Frank Claydon once again. His second pick.
Trying that play action, and it was a right read to throw it to Lovett. Lovett just couldn't bring it in, a little too high.
It was.
And that is Denning's 4th pick of the game, and Claydon's 2nd.
He definitely had him. But like you say, just overthrows him. And Claydon is
was absolutely the right read. He just didn't quite have the touch to put that in the right
A
place.
grateful recipient of that tip drill. And it makes you wonder how long the Caesars coaching staff will stick with Denning, having thrown that 4th pick of the afternoon.
Yeah, they've got a number of quarterbacks down there. Tom Henley, Kieran Brown, the man they call Ash.
But anyway, and that's a false start. That's going to be on Amato. Amato should never be false starting from out in that position. You're looking down the ball, looking down the line rather, even if you have forgotten what the snap count is. All you've got to do is not move till the ball goes. So a bit of a break for Nottingham.
Prior to the snap, false start, offence number 26. 5-yard penalty, it remains first down.
It must be said, a little bit of an error-strewn game so far.
And I think from what we've seen, it shows the class between these two teams and the rest of the conference, with the Falcons moving the ball with great efficiency. I know they've had their penalty issues, and Sandwell moving the ball as well, really getting their offense firing. But both these teams struggling a little to move this ball.
Still the first half in Shropshire, incidentally, speaking of the Falcons, and the Falcons find themselves 20-0 ahead of the Revolution. In Shropshire, as that ball is floated down the seam, looking for number 88, Brad Jackson. But it
looked like Mark Martin was the man in coverage over the middle.
So yeah, you mentioned about the Falcons. I say they're 20-0 ahead away from home against Shropshire, against another one of those front runners, and I think obviously if Shropshire drop this one, that'll be a 2-game gap between them and the Falcons. And it may end up therefore then becoming a 2-horse race with Leicester and Sandwell.
Oh, I think there is no doubt, not that we should be calling it too early, that it will be a 2-horse race towards the latter part of this season. Be surprised if Shropshire stay or keep the Falcons at bay.
Defensive front for the Caesars that time, led by Ashley Matthews. Snuffed that one out, and after the false start penalty and a loss of 5, that's a further loss of another 2 yards, which will bring up 3rd and 16. Maybe even, 3rd and 17 maybe. So the Coventry offence going backwards, the Nottingham offence going forwards, but then putting the ball in the hands of the Coventry defence. So at the moment, both offences struggling, it's fair to say.
Caesars have relied heavily on that running game to get the ball moving. They've had some nice pass completions.
One thing that has been a consistent, as it usually is that Caesars defence again, though. As Southall takes off, and he's got a bit of a lane, and Hardwick is blocked out of action, and Southall picks up a first down. Oh, and there's a little shove there.
Yeah, no, I think Southall was looking for something more than it was. I think he kind of made a little bit of a dive there.
Did well though to.
He absolutely did, and he read his blocks very, very well.
Look down the field there. He drops back. Yeah. So Wilkins had a chance to get round.
All the pressure coming round that left side, and nothing coming from the right, as Jimmy's pointed out.
Nice block. Like you say, read the blocks very well, but it was a nice block, I think.
Yeah, there was nothing to that that little bit at the end there.
Amato, I think, with the block on Hardwick there, which sprung him for the first down yardage and more, and it's first down Coventry. So Coventry inside the Caesars half as Southall hands the ball off, and that ball is handed off this time to Aaron Benn, the fullback, and Aaron Benn picks up positive yardage.
Yeah, 3-4 yards on the pickup that time, and they'll just look to keep it moving. I think they've only given him 2 yards there.
So, 2nd and 8 upcoming from this latest possession. A score here, in the end zone variety, would give the Coventry Jets their first lead of the season. I say we said about the strength of the Caesars outfit being their defence historically.
Yeah, they'll be looking for them to dig deep here.
So he drops back, and this time he is under pressure, and he manages to roll out this time to his left. He pops the ball away.
Oh, and it's a jump. And it looked to be a wonderful grab.
In and out of the hands of Ben.
Just popped out as he hit the turf.
And once again, though, Southall proving that he can roll to either side and make things happen.
It was an interesting throwing technique.
Well, again, like a little jump shot, really. trying to get some elevation over the defenders. So the ball is snaps okay that time, and there's pressure coming from his right, and he manages to step up into the pocket and then looks to just jump and pop that ball over.
Yeah, taking a leaf out of LeBron's book there.
What you like on that though is that his eyes are downfield all the time.
Very much so. He wasn't in the first quarter very much nervous, or looking nervous, almost head looking at his own feet, but he has made that adjustment over the half-time break.
3rd and 7 then. Play action. The ball is zipped out. He has his man, and the man makes the reception and will get close to first down. I think he's going to be marked half a yard short, but that was a well-executed play, hitting Nick Sayer on the sideline there for a pickup of about 5.
I would think we'll see them go for it here.
I'd have thought so as well. I think if Aaron Ben is there in the backfield, that big number 23, that'll be my money on where you stick this one. So let's see if that defensive front.
Well,
for the
if you're
Caesars
thinking it, it's highly likely the Caesars defense is thinking it as well.
Yep. But it's all well and good if both teams are thinking it. Which team can execute better? Aaron Ben is in the backfield there, and he has a big up back with him as well. Can't quite catch that number at the minute, so I would be surprised if Ben isn't the recipient of this one. And indeed he is. And he does fall forward for a Coventry first down.
It looks like they've got a man down, holding his. It looks like he might be holding his shoulder.
It's Connor Rickus, number 72, currently on the turf. But the Coventry will be pleased with that.
And he's up.
Using that power game.
Now, I'm not quite sure. It looks like one of the offensive linemen that's walking off. I'm not quite sure how deep they are on that offensive line.
But on comes Josh Kelly, number 77, and he's marked down on our records as a D lineman, so very much like the Caesars with Mike Thompson.
Yep.
Switching over from D line to O line today because of a shortage on the Caesars offensive line. Josh Kelly is dropping in, and actually now Rickus is being helped off the field considerably. It looks like he's struggling to put a lot of weight on that left leg. So that may well be the end of the afternoon for that man, which will mean that Josh Kelly, defensive lineman, is called into action to play out a position
Actually, it
himself.
looked like he'd bust his arm up, but MCW 444.
Come on, too many interceptions. Well, is that a slight on the quarterbacks, or is that a positive for the defenses? All depending on your perspective. As Southall drops back, he looks to the air again. He's got a man out there. Oh, in and out of the hands of Nick Sayer that time.
Yeah, Nick Sayer looked like he was going to make that grab, but just didn't quite have the reach.
Obviously, the Jets confident in Southall's ability to put the ball downfield.
He's not got a bad arm at all. He's been a lot of pressure on him today, and I think, to be fair to Southall, with what he's been given to work with, as it were, he's not done too badly at all.
So usually at this point in the show, we get the tweets coming in, and you just see the graphic fade off the top left of the screen there. Get involved, get in touch with us at Not versus Cov.
Wilkins wraps that up
and that ball's out, and that ball is out, and it's picked up by Mark Martin, and Mark Martin with no flags on the play. That will be another turnover. And after Wilkins blew that play up in the backfield, Mark Martin was the man on the spot there. You see, he fends off that blocker. He spins his man down. Ball definitely out before the man hits the ground. Martin scoops it up. And at that stage, you're thinking, there's another 6 points. But look at the perseverance and determination. And he goes in, interestingly, as well, Amato not only looking for the tackle, but also going for the strip
that ball
as well.
Back out.
But nevertheless, a big turnover. Third fumble of the afternoon for Coventry. Fourth total turnover. 4 turnovers for each team now.
Yeah, fumbles, unacceptable. It's something that you can control. It's not like it's wet out there either.
Denning
just
drops
got to
back,
wrap that
pressure,
ball.
he steps up, he flips the ball out, and again, overthrows Patterson really,
Only just.
but only just is when he's got him that wide open.
Patterson did get 2 hands to it.
Under pressure once again, and going back to that Coventry fumble, that was all really on Wilkins. You've got to give him credit. He shed the initial block off from the fullback. He then managed to snag his man and create the fumble as well.
Yeah, very much so.
And it's down to Wilkins then, obviously Mark Martin for the run back, which seed the Nottingham Caesars in business inside the 25-yard line at the 23 of the Coventry Jets. Now Charlie Patterson in the slot on this left-hand side again, where he was last time and operated so well. Ball out to the flat on the other side. Andrew Lovett takes it round the end. He's got a first down, and he barrels through a defender, and that's Claydon who makes the tackle.
Nice strong running there from Lovett as well. You don't see many receivers wanting to take that kind of contact as he tried to break through 2 men.
Well, actually, he didn't actually take the contact that time. He initiated the contact. And whenever you're a runner, whether you're a receiver or running back, that's what you want to see them do. You want to see your guy, like we've said, initiating contact rather than being hit. So a good pickup of 20 yards there on that play to bring up first and goal.
Yeah, see if they can capitalise, about 7 yards out.
Andrew Lovett's 3rd reception of the afternoon. He's on close to 40 yards receiving now. So first and goal from the 6-yard line. Remember, last time Nottingham were in this sort of position, Denning threw that interception that almost went back for 6, but this time it's Holmes with the carry, and Holmes goes up the middle for the 2nd Nottingham touchdown of the afternoon.
He walked in virtually untouched.
And if you have a look at that big hole there in the middle, offensive line did very well there, and Holmes secures his first rushing touchdown of the afternoon on his 7th carry.
Great blocking there from the offensive line.
So Nottingham 16, Coventry 7 as Winfield prepares to add the extras. Once this is through, we'll try and bring you up to date once again with scores around the country. I know obviously it was a short field, but Nottingham have had short fields in the past today and not been successfully able to convert, so that will fill the home team with some confidence as the snap is up. Ball down. Oh, Winfield. So, I don't know quite what that was.
They
but
have given it. They must have
squibbed over
scraped over the bar.
As Winfield walks off, patting his chest as if he's he knows he got that particularly wrong.
Going for the crossbar challenge and failed in the right way.
So, with our score here in Nottingham of the Caesars 17 and the Coventry Jets 7, we'll take you around the country. In the Premiership, wow, the London Blitz final score of 66-12 over the...
That was last week.
I've gone back, sorry, I've gotten excited. Gone back a week too far. Where are we? We're right here. Let's get into the Prem first of all, if we can. The Tamworth Phoenix find themselves 42-6 ahead of the Merseyside Nighthawks. That's before half-time. 42-6 before half-time. The London Blitz this week are taking on the Bristol Aztecs. And that's also before half-time. Both that was a 3:30 kick-off, the Blitz, and they're 26-8 ahead of the Aztecs. Dropping down into the division, into Div 1, it's still Leicester 20 and Shropshire 0 up in Shropshire. Selected other scores coming to you after we see this kick return from Davison, and Davison slightly better coverage, but he's still allowed to gain 10-15 yards after the ball bounces.
Looking at the Warriors-Saints score, it looks like the Saints may well have forfeited the walkover win to the Warriors at 1-0.
In Division 1 still, we've got the Berkshire Renegades 19-0 ahead of the Ouse Valley Eagles. We have 0-0 against the Colchester Gladiators and the London Hornets in the first quarter. Glasgow Tigers and the Gateshead Senators in a very close one, with the Tigers squeaking out a 13-12 victory in that one. So, Coventry's next possession. Just bring you one more Premier. Oh no, that's from last week as well, as the ball is popped out to the left, intended for John Keel, tight end, but that falls out of bounds, which will bring up second down Coventry. Solent Thrashers in Division 1 against the Oxford Saints, 25-13. Second down, Coventry. Coventry do appear to be changing their formation quite a lot, as this time Southall hands the ball off. And Kelter called his name earlier on in the first half, gets the carry, but he's met after a short gain.
I think they're just trying to find something that's going to work for them to get this ball moving again.
Once again, we are deep into third quarter action here, and we'd love to hear from you. Get in touch. It's usually about this time when our Twitter starts blowing up a little bit. Third down, 3rd and 8 upcoming for Coventry. Gone very quiet here in the stand as Wilkins times that count to perfection. He makes the reception and a good catch over the middle, and you know as a receiver that catching a ball over the middle is not always your favourite place to catch the ball.
Well, I don't know as a receiver because you never let me play receiver.
But a prerequisite to play receiver is being able to catch.
Wilkins picked up very, very well by the offence there, as he did time that snap to near perfection. The running backs did pick him up.
Can I commend you on the way that you averted from that previous conversation? That was impressive.
Well, you've brought it right back. It's almost like you're asking for trouble.
So on 4th down, 4th and 3, as opposed to the 4th and 8 that's on the screen. 4th and 3 upcoming, and it would appear that Coventry, now that it appears Nottingham have got their offence working, are looking to kick that ball, and a lofted snap, and the ball is up and it's gone skyward. That could come down with snow on it, even like on a day like today, and Wilkins elects to get out the way of it, and that takes a big Nottingham bounce, and that is around about a 16-yard punt.
Yes, and that is not what you're after.
So Nottingham take over in real good field position this time, and it did go high into the air. And obviously when you get that sort of trajectory, the chances are when it hits the floor, it is going to bounce back your way. So let's see if Denning and the offence can continue this second half push for Nottingham. Still got that man Strong. I mean, Elliot Strong, Frank Claydon. We've also obviously Jordan Sinclair for the Jets, all been involved in interception action. So while those three are back there, Coventry do have a chance. And to be fair, it's only a 10-point game. Okay, Coventry's score has come on special teams rather than as a result of their offence, as Denning hands that ball off, and that's John Holmes once again, and Holmes picks up good yardage.
Looks like that space has opened back up in the middle. It was an inside run that broke outside.
John Holmes picks up 7 on the carry. And his numbers are ticking along very nicely. Not seen Corey Lawrence for a while. I can see him on the sideline close to the offensive coordinator, but with his helmet in his hands. So whether or not this is scripted for Holmes this particular series. We've got Chris Peacock, number 85, lined up on the far side of the field, a rookie this year. Denning drops back again. He looks for Peacock over the middle, and that one, and actually that was fired in, and it's in and out of the hands of a Jet. Then
it looked like Cy Lewis, 31 for the Jets, that nearly got that pick.
And to be fair, Peacock had a chance.
I think that's Danny Johns, is it not, number 87?
That is Danny Johns, but that I'm not sure that was the man who the ball was thrown to, but we will see. Nevertheless, it is incomplete. It's second down. Carl Watkinson leaves the field. He won't mind me saying. Receiver, do you know how old Carl Watkinson is?
Somewhere shy of 50.
47.
I wasn't far off then, was I?
47 playing receiver. You've got to give him credit for getting in there, and he's been around the Caesars for a long time on and off. As Denning looks down the field and he's looking for Patterson, and Patterson over his shoulder, and
I don't know whether Patterson slowed down a little trying to find that ball in the air, but a difficult pass to try and bring in.
And look where the shadows are as well. That ball will have been coming out of the sun, so adding to the difficulty of the catch, but he did have him there, and Patterson had got behind his man. But yeah, going back to Watkinson, been with the Caesars a long time, and you tend to find people who are advancing in years will continue to play if their health and fitness allows, and but it's very rare for somebody of those years to be playing out receiver.
I think if you're in that position, I think you've got to be utilising your skill rather than any athletic ability that you might possess.
So it's Winfield to kick that ball away, and the ball sails out of bounds, and that's not the best kick that Mr. Winfield has ever produced either.
Let's see where they mark it.
He's coming back. They tend to come back further than you think they are when they go straight out like that, and that official is carrying on walking, and he stopped at the 25-yard line. So not bad, but again, a Caesars offensive series that promised but didn't deliver.
Much like Hermes. They promised they'd deliver my parcel and didn't.
Other logistics companies are available. So, first down Coventry. Still in the third quarter here in Nottingham as Southall drops back to pass. He's flushed and he's under a bit of pressure now. And the ball just squirts out and he's under pressure from Tony Wills that time. So Tony Wills manages to get a hand on the back of Southall, and Southall still gets that ball away. Falls harmlessly in between players. So 2nd and 10 Nottingham. Similar formation again for Southall.
See if they can find anything at all. Really struggled the last few drives.
A 2-man bunch formation to the right. There's that ball handed off again, and that's a good tackle. Met
straight into Wilkins, followed up by that big man Bash.
And Aaron Ben, who's not a small man in himself, did feel that one as he
and that
slowed
is
to get up.
the third quarter.
So end of the third quarter here in Nottingham. We have a score of the Caesars 17 and the Coventry Jets 7. So a lone touchdown in that period from the Caesars off that short field. John Holmes blasting up the middle untouched. Coventry offense still really to get anything going, but they've got the ball at the moment, even though they struggled on first down there. Can you see any way back in this one for Coventry?
It's only a 10-point spread. By no means is this game over. I think they need to dig deep. They really need to find something that's going to move this ball for them. We know their only score so far has been on special teams. Their defense has had a number of turnovers, and perhaps that's where it lies. Perhaps they'll be looking for a pick six to try and get that scoreline back closer.
So let's have a quick look around the country. In the Prem, the Edinburgh Wolves trailing the Manchester Titans 13-7 in the third period. Division 1, the Sussex Thunder have beaten the Bristol Apache by 46-14. London Olympians currently ahead of the Farnham Knights 23-20. That ball is caught over the middle, and that's a great play, and he's on his feet at the 25, he's at the 20, he's at the 10, and he stumbles down inside the 10-yard line at the 9 for a big pickup for the Coventry Jets, and they're back in business.
Yeah, monster gain. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. It was a great catch in double coverage as well, and he's just looked a little slow actually. With all due respect to him, and he almost went for that spin move. I think that's how he ended up stumbling. He picked up a great gain there, and all credit to him.
But Joe Blythe has the Coventry offense ticking once again.
See if that momentum follows.
They find themselves first and goal inside the 10 at the 9-yard line. So that defense of Nottingham that we said was their forte find themselves defending their own goal line. 9 yards out. Can Southall and the Coventry offense bring this one back close? We said it was only a 10-point spread. So Southall drops back. He picks that and almost intercepted. And that would have been Tony Wills, who was looking to try and locate that one after the big paw of that defensive lineman battered the ball out of
I
Southall.
think it was actually Will's paw that that battered that ball up.
So 2nd and goal inside the 10. A little bit of a play action there that time from Southall. It did appear that he had a man coming in on the slant. Now, when Nottingham were in this situation, they handed that ball off to Holmes, and Holmes scampered up the middle for that score. They have one back here. And this time he does receive the ball, and that's a great tackle up the middle again.
Yeah, wrapped up very, very well by the Caesars defence.
Jabir Amiri, fullback. He seems, he's snagged early on, so Amiri loses a yard there. It'll be 3rd and goal from the 10-yard line.
Nowhere to run.
Nowhere to hide. Martha and the Vandellas. So 3rd and goal, Coventry, still looking to see if their offence can get into the end zone for the first time this season. Nottingham defence very tight up to the line, expecting the run almost. Nobody back in the end zone, and that ball this time is... And Southall is snagged, and he will go down this time. Oh, well, will he? Will he? He does eventually.
Breaks through Wilkins' tackle.
And for a slight quarterback, he's showing significant strength. He's eluded 2 or 3 tackles this time, this half, and you can see he looks in trouble straight away.
It looked like Joseph Solomon was the man that got the sack.
But Southall showing good strength and determination.
Be interesting to see here whether they go for a field goal or whether they try and put it in.
Well, on comes Elliot Strong, and it would look like, as well as kick returning and as well as playing safety, it would appear that Elliot Strong is also coming on to kick to narrow this lead down to a 1-touchdown possession for the Caesars. He seems to have done it all so far. Let's see if Strong can add to that Coventry total. Snap is up, it's a floater, and it's blocked at the line, and that's picked up. And he's got a bit of room around the edge, and that's John Holmes. And it's not John Holmes.
It was actually.
It's not John Holmes. Sorry, it's Alex Armstrong, number 45.
Thunderous hit on Strong as well.
So Alex Armstrong, there's a joke in there somewhere. I'm going to have to give Jimmy credit for that, but Alex Armstrong does attempt to run that ball back, trying to score, but comes away pointless. We need to find some new writers. We need to find some writers.
That was smart.
Clever.
If you understand the joke,
okay.
It was.
Yeah, if you have to explain it, it's not worthwhile. Anyway, so 4th quarter action here at Harvey Haddon in Nottingham. It's the Nottingham Caesars currently leading 17-7. They take over their next possession with Denning still at quarterback, who flips the ball, aiming for Lovett, but that's 5-6 feet above Lovett's head, and he sort of turns around behind him to say, "Was that for me? Was there somebody behind me?"
Is he aware that Lovett's only like 5'9", 5'10", looking at it from here?
So 2nd down. I've decided I'm not punning anymore. Not punning anymore. As Jack Winfield comes to the sideline. So 2nd and 10 Caesars. Previously, Nottingham defeated this this Coventry outfit by a score of 28-0. So Coventry already making progress on where they last were. And I do say there have been signs of life, and I like what Lovell attempts to do, and he's got his man again over the top, and that ball is short.
Oh, and he was unlucky not to reel that ball in. And it was 94 on the coverage. That was Carl Oliver Smith.
And I tell you what, Denning had his man again. It looked like Patterson.
That would have been a 5th interception as well on the day.
But it looks like Patterson. He just underthrows him. He hangs that ball up there. Look, and Patterson's waiting for it, which gives Oliver Smith a chance to get back and make the play.
Strong was there too. Patterson not happy at all.
Lovett checks back into the game on 3rd and 10. And there's definitely opportunities behind this Coventry secondary. But at the moment, Denning just not finding that arm strength and getting either releasing the ball early enough or putting it out in front when he does decide to release the ball. So 3rd and long. Denning drops back again. He's got time. He steps up. He's got Johns this time, and that is almost
and nearly
intercepted
another
again.
one.
And that's that man, Frank Claydon. And once again, double coverage there. Claydon was there. Strong was there. And there, Nottingham definitely got away from the run in this period. They were sort of, even though they're 17-7 up, but no real need to be passing the ball and risking these throws.
Well, no need to be throwing those deep balls as well.
We did notice that Corey Lawrence came towards the bench limping a little bit about 5-10 minutes ago. So whether or not he's out of action for the day remains to be seen. But John Holmes has been effective so far, and that offensive line are opening gaps up left, right, and centre. So here comes Winfield on to punt once again. Nice snap. And the punt, oh, it's another awful kick from Winfield, really, this time out. Doesn't even cross halfway. Oh, and there's an injury. There's somebody. There's a man down in the middle of the field, and it looked like he was. Oh, he's grabbing his knee. That man in the centre of the field. If we can see here, it was after the ball had gone out of bounds. Oh, we just missed that on the replay, but can't quite get a number at the moment.
Looking like 19, McQuillan.
Dan McQuillan, who was blocked after the ball was bouncing around, and he sort of landed awkwardly on his knee. So at this stage we have another break. It's be great if you could get involved with the show this afternoon in this final period. Hashtag is not versus Cov. Try and drop into some other games around the country again as well. See if we've got any updates for you on recent scores. The Tamworth Phoenix still lead the Merseyside Nighthawks 42-6, although that's been similar for a while. I would have thought they're into the second half now in that one at least. See if we've got any close ones. The Manchester Titans currently ahead of the Edinburgh Wolves 13-7. Olympians still 23-20 ahead of the Knights. Those Tamworth Phoenix 42-6 still ahead of the Merseyside Nighthawks. Leicester Shropshire still claiming 20-0, but again that was a 2:30 kick-off, and our scores suggest that that is still in the second quarter, but I know that won't be the case, so it may well be that that score isn't highly accurate at the moment. London Hornets still ahead of the Colchester Gladiators. Solent Thrashers beating the Oxford Saints 25-13. As unfortunately McQuillan is still down. The medics are attending to him as we speak. So, in terms of us here at Onside Productions, our next stream is a fortnight from today, where we'll be back at Harvey Haddon when the Caesars welcome the Leicester Falcons. The following weekend, on the 10th of June, we'll be at Harvey Haddon once again, where the Caesars welcome the Sandwell Steelers.
The Junior League might have a schedule then. We might have a home game. Who knows?
The 24th of June sees the Caesars in home action once again, as the Doncaster... I've just had a memory. Doncaster. I've just had
Mustangs.
Mustangs. Thank you very much. Just got a complete brain freeze. The Mustangs will be the visiting team on that occasion. We then get into July. On the 8th of July, we'll be out in Leicester as Shropshire. The reverse fixture of today. Shropshire will be travelling to Hinckley to take on the Leicester Falcons. After the 8th of July. So back-to-back games, we will see the Shropshire Revolution on the 8th away to the Leicester Falcons, and on the 15th away to the Nottingham Caesars back here at Harvey Haddon. Falcons currently are 26-0 ahead in their encounter today against Shropshire in the third quarter. That then takes us into August. On August the 5th, the Mustangs will visit the Falcons, which is where Onside Productions will be on that weekend. And that will round out our coverage of the regular season. Onside Productions are streaming the Brit Bowl finals once again this year. And that will be in the first weekend in September. In fact, it'll be the second weekend of the 8th and 9th. And also, all being well, we hope to be able to bring you the Tamworth Oslo game, the second home game for the Tamworth Phoenix in their European adventure this year. And that will be on Saturday, June the 9th. So a busy schedule for George and I and Onside Productions over the coming months. We have all Leicester home games, we have all Nottingham home games, we've had the Tamworth European home games, we've covered the Brit Bowl weekend in September, we've already covered the Uni Bowl finals at 6 ways, that was back in March.
Seems like a long time ago, that does.
Seem like a long time ago, it does indeed. We covered the varsity, Nottingham varsity game a week and a half ago. Good to see that McQuillan has managed to get back to the bench just with the aid of one teammate. But anyway, Caesar's offense retake the field. You can see that caption again, top left. Get involved with the show. We'd love to hear from you.
Caesar's defense taking the field.
Get involved with the show. We'd love to hear from you. We've got around about half of the fourth quarter remaining here. Caesar's ahead 17-7 against the visiting Jets, but the Jets on the march. So first down, Coventry. After that last play was the punt, not the best punt Winfield's ever tried, and Southall zips the ball, looking for Matt Truslove, but that one flies down to the bootlaces of Truslove. And I'll be honest, if you're comparing the two quarterbacks, where Southall's struggled, he's put the ball down low too many times, as opposed to where Denning's struggled, that ball has flown on him numerous times.
Yeah, but if you're throwing it to the feet, it's less likely to get intercepted.
That's very true. That is very true. Still 4 turnovers apiece, 4 interceptions for Denning and the Caesars, and 3 fumbles and an interception for Coventry. 2nd and 10 Coventry, 17-7 down. Fourth quarter action here from Harvey Haddon. It looked like an early start from the receiver, but it's not called, and that ball is floated not near enough to the sideline to cause Hardwick over there, I think it is, and any threat really. So, 3rd and 10 Coventry. 3rd and 10 Coventry here. Can they make something happen to spark a bit of life back into this game as the crowd are a bit flat? Now the reception is made and he steps around 1 tackle, steps around 2 tackles, but he is going to be short of the first down, although where that official's coming, he's very close to first down yardage.
Yeah, certainly not far away at all, and he is a big man.
Let's see, nice pass. And that's very similar to what the Phoenix did last weekend, where it's just that simple 5, 6, 7.
Crusaders.
Sorry.
Yeah.
5, 6 yard hook pattern. Fire the ball in, let the man
do the work.
Get some rack yards.
Do the work. If you're picking up 4 yards a go, you're always going to keep moving those chains. Although they appear to be moving back, and it looks like they've been flagged for a
illegal formation. 5 players in the backfield by the offence. 5-yard penalty. Replay. 3rd down.
They're unfortunate there.
Will be there.
So what looked like being a very close play to pick up first down yardage ends up being a negative play, and 5 yards going away from that original line of scrimmage. First down Southall, third down Southall, and Southall over the middle, looking for Josh Keel, big tight end, and that one falls incomplete, which will bring up 4th down.
The Keel would have done well there to bring that in. He actually got hands on the ball, surrounded by around about 3 guys.
And that does seem to be the script this afternoon, whereby any receiver on either team that's getting anywhere close to the ball is surrounded by the opposition.
Really has been a day for the defence.
So 4th down upcoming. It would appear that there is a punt formation on the Coventry side, but there's no returner back, and it looks like it's a fake punt, and they've gone for it, and it's
and he was
almost
unlucky.
caught.
It's Elliot Strong was the targeted receiver.
Goodness me, and that was very fortunate. There was confusion to start with one of the Caesars running on over the far sideline to try and get off the field, thinking numbers weren't right. Then he came back on. Jordan Sinclair, who has been punting this afternoon, who's wondered whether or not he was going to kick it or throw that ball, and he ended up drifting the ball over to Strong, and it was just at his bootlaces and couldn't drag it in. So Nottingham get the ball back close to midfield, and we do have a change of quarterback for the Caesars. So Ash is now coming in relief of Cy Denning. Let's see what Ash can do in terms of getting the ball going, and his first play is a handoff. And it looks like Holmes, who's got the initial carry, and picks up positive yardage.
So if the Caesars are just looking to take down this clock, won't be a lot of time left in this game.
Will Nottingham be happy with this performance based on the fact that first time out they beat the Jets 28-0? Would they have been looking to make more progress than this?
I would think they would have been, of course. The defence has played very, very well for them. There's always faults that you can find if you look for it. You can never have a perfect game. But the defence has shut them out. That 7 that you see on your scoreboard at home is a special teams kick return, and it was a wonderful kick return by Strong.
Ash takes the ball, and
that was
Ash's first pass is incomplete, looking for the swing pass out to Holmes.
It was almost like a shot put there.
Bring up 3rd and a long 7. As Kyle Pearson checks into the game for Nottingham.
Speedy little receiver.
Not seen anything in the way of sort of jet sweeps today.
No, we saw one attempt, but it was called back on a false start.
Seen it threatened once or twice with Charlie Patterson running the designated jet sweep. But you wonder whether you've got Pearson there in the slot. Brings a new dimension as Ash drops back. He's got time, and he's gone up the top, and he has flipped that ball looking for, just try and get a number there.
Looks like Patterson was the target man. Strong absolutely annihilated him.
And that's 3 and out for Nottingham on Ash's first series. He did kind of have him down the seam, but like you say, Strong was there to deliver the blow, whether he'd have caught it or not. And on comes Winfield to punt once again, and Strong is back deep, looking threatening, menacing for the Jets. Better kick this time from Winfield, and he angles it out, and it bounces at the 20 and then flips out of bounds. So obviously he's not wanting Strong to get his hands on the ball if he can help it.
Strong really has been the key factor for this Jets team. He's been here, there and everywhere.
So let's jump round the leagues again. Half time, Tamworth 42, Merseyside 6. Fourth quarter, Manchester 13, Edinburgh 7. That's in the Prem North, both those games. Prem South 32-10 blitz over the Aztecs in the second quarter. Olympians 23, Knights 20 in the third. In the NFC 1 North, we already mentioned that the Tigers from Glasgow beat the Gateshead Senators 13-12. We know about this one here, 17-7 in favour of the Caesars. The Falcons now 33-0 ahead of the Revolution up in Shropshire. That's in the NFC 1 South, both those games. SFC 1 Central, the Solent Thrashers beating the Oxford Saints 25-13, and the Boxer see anything anywhere. It could well be, no, it's a block in the back right there. That's where that flag comes out, so that's going to be coming back for a block in the back after the reception's made, and unfortunately will nullify Hopkins' big reception. And Hopkins is on his knees, obviously needing to pay back that oxygen debt after
Illegal
that play.
block in the back. Offence number 26. Half the distance to the goal. It remains first down.
So indeed, it was immediately after Hopkins made that reception that there was that block in the back which sprung Hopkins and allowed him to pick up that yardage for a first down. So Coventry in a bit of a hole again. 1st and 20. Inside their own 10 now. Let's see if the Caesars decide to bring the pressure. I've been very impressed with the way that Southall has, number one, stood in the pocket, and number two, been elusive. And that one is, it's caught actually, and it's a great catch. I thought one of the Caesars defensive backs was lining that up for a pick, but as it turns out, it's Amato out there who goes up high, brings the ball in, and secures the catch.
Yeah, it was a wonderful grab. It was a very lofted ball, and as you say, the defensive backs almost licking their lips at that one.
2nd and 12 for Coventry. Give them a little bit of breathing room away from the shadow of their own goalposts. Just on their own 16-yard line now. Once again, not necessarily now at this stage, still 10 points behind, not necessarily going to get the win this afternoon, but Coach Kendall and the Coventry team will be anxious to try and keep building. And once again, the man down the seam was open, had beaten his defender, and that's Amato once again. And that
just a little low for him, and it's as you said rightly earlier on, it seems to be an issue that Southall's got. Although he made the right read.
Definitely so, and had that ball been better positioned, Amato could have been off. But as it is, another incompletion, so 3rd and 12. Again, Southall does look like a quarterback with potential as he drops back again, steps up into the pocket, this time looks to take off, and he may well have enough room, and he does scoot round and he picks up that first down. Good awareness, knowing when to tuck the ball and run, and allows him to move the chains for the Jets.
Yeah, nice pick up there that time for him.
So Coventry first down. Clock continues to run. Here we go. The whole feel of this one now, whether in the stands or
it's very, very flat.
It is, and I don't know if you're the Nottingham team. Are you sort of thinking this one's done and dusted already, or?
I would like to think they're not.
Yeah, I would hope not too, because Southall has picked up that first down and he's under pressure. That ball's out, and now this one could be, and that's still out, and it's dropped on, and it's going to be a bit of a wrestle on the ground there for it.
I think the Jets have got it.
Have the Jets secured possession, or is that getting turned over for another Coventry fumble?
Southall very, very slow to get up.
Waiting, he's still down, Southall is.
Grasping his ankle.
While we look at the sideline there for the decision from the official.
He's not comfortable.
No, he's not at all. It's not been signalled a turnover, so I think it will remain Coventry ball. Let's see.
I think they did just about manage to...
yeah, looking at Southall, he grabs for that left foot straight away. And Southall is being helped off the field, and that could spell trouble for the Coventry offence. Just waiting see what the chains are up to actually. Obviously the chains say first down at the minute. It's definitely not first down if it's Coventry ball. Just trying to make sure that we get the right, there we go. Now the down marker gets flipped. The chains appear only to be 3 yards apart at the moment, so they need setting before we continue.
Not quite sure why the chains moved there. Ashley Matthews appears to be having words.
I think the reason it moved is because whether the chain crew had been given a signal from the officials that may well have been a turnover. I think that's why they were starting to move and head towards first down for Nottingham. But as it is, it's been deemed to have been recovered by the Jets, which will bring up fourth down.
Yeah, it seems to be a lot of confusion, as Jimmy's pointed out. It's about 2nd and 25 if it isn't a turnover.
Absolutely, yes, because that previous play was a result of that previous play was as a result of Southall rushing for that first down, and obviously then the fumble play was on first down. So yes, you're right. This should be 2nd down, and it should be those chains should be much further up still, I would have thought, because I think Southall rushed out of bounds at around about. No, that does seem odd. Nevertheless, it does seem to be what's marked, and Chris Peacock goes back to.
Well, the Jets don't appear to be
arguing it. No, they don't. Do we have a replay of that again at all? Just to see what the marker was, just before, if we can, just very quickly before. Let's have a quick look. So
yeah, it was first and 10.
1st and 10 it was. That's really interesting. Anyway, the ball, it's a real high kick again, and that ball is going to take a Nottingham bounce, and it's going to continue to bounce and continue to bounce, and it's down at the 20. Yeah, so looking at our replay there, as you saw, it was definitely first down Coventry, and then for whatever reason, 2 downs completely disappeared.
That is mesmerising.
But like you say, nobody seemed to argue. Obviously the Caesars won't argue it, but the Jets didn't seem to argue at all
no,
either.
they very quickly brought their punt
Look
team
at that
on.
mark. Yeah, sorry. Let's just show us that right once again, boys, if we can. Just at the very outset of the play, and have a look at the down marker. I don't know if we can at the very outset of that play. Okay. As the Nottingham offence retake the field.
It looks like they've got it yet another
There you go. Oh, there we go. Have a quick look. Oh, it's difficult to tell. Anyway,
looks
we're
like they've
convinced.
got another quarterback in.
We're convinced, and that looks like, is that Tom Henley now taking the field for the Caesars?
Looks like Tom Henley, although the officials seem to be
still talking. Major confusion here in Nottingham at the back end of this game. This is the official.
Timeout called by the defence. First charged timeout.
So, anyway, major confusion on the field. A little bit of confusion up here. And Jimmy, our scoreboard operator, adamant that was first down.
I'm inclined to agree with Jimmy.
I'm inclined not to question Jimmy because he's very proficient at this sort of thing. There was a first down for Southall's run, without a doubt, absolutely, where he took off and he gained first down from that. That's right.
I think Coventry have been cheated out of 2 downs there.
I think you're right.
I don't think by any means is it no fault of the Caesars, but something's gone.
Absolutely, yeah. You've got to wonder from a Coventry coaching perspective whether or not somebody should be watching that and then arguing it. Anyway, in comes Tom Henley to quarterback. He drops back immediately, zips the ball out to Lovett, and Lovett picks up, and he's got looks like a first down. If not, he's very close.
They are going to mark him short by 1.
No, I think he's good. Those chains move, and Henley's first pass of the afternoon is a good one.
I think we've got a diagonal field line or something. It looks short to me.
I think that might just be your vision. But that is a 10-yard pickup for Henley on first down.
Well, I can't see straight lines,
So Lovett with that reception. That's how the game opened, with Lovett taking the ball close to the line of scrimmage, then making something of it himself. But that'll do Henley's confidence the world of good, and it's now 1st and goal Nottingham on the Coventry 9-yard line. Henley with 2 receivers to the right, 2 to the left, and Henley looks again, and he zips the ball over the middle to Winfield, and he's got a touchdown. And that's Henley to Winfield.
That is something that has happened many times in the past. Both players product of the Caesars juniors. Winfield moving out to receiver from his tight end position there.
And a simple play on a simple slant there from Henley to Winfield.
Nice read and on point.
So, Tom Henley, 2 passes, 2 completions, 19 yards.
And that's his first senior touchdown as well.
Score. And that is to, like you say, his former junior teammate Jack Winfield. And Jack Winfield now, bit of a jack of all trades. Jack Winfield.
Oh, that was a cheeky pun. That
Jack
was.
Jack of all trades. You like that?
Yeah.
So Jack's been on 3 receptions for just over 30 yards.
And he puts the points on the board there as well.
Converts his own touchdown. So Winfield, 3 receptions. As I say, just over 33, 34 yards and a touchdown. A field goal, 2 extra points. And a real interesting move from Nottingham to only have Ash in for 1 series and then go with the youth of Henley, but it's obviously...
Well, it's worked for them there.
And that stretches the Nottingham lead to 24-7 here in the 4th period, and realistically makes that 2nd win of the season, I think, safe for the Burgundy Fire.
Coventry have done nothing offensively, really, to sort of prove us otherwise. They have moved the chains a couple times, but other than 1 real deep throw, not made any great gains.
So it will be interesting now to see if Southall isn't fit to go. The quarterback decision for the Coventry Jets. But before that, we know last time Nottingham scored a touchdown. The ensuing kickoff.
Yeah, that man, Mr. Strong.
And it's just chipped this time, and obviously they're not wanting Strong to get his hands on the ball, but he does, and then he's met, and he bounces out of the first tackle, and I think that was definitely a strategy.
They actually have around about 4 quarterbacks on the roster, just looking through the Jets. They've got Gary Sullivan, Daniel Azar and Dan Walker as well. So
it was Stephen Bryan who made the tackle, and out comes the Coventry offence for their latest offensive series.
Well, actually
it looks like being number 15 out there. And that looks like being
Daniel Azar. Who had some reps against the Falcons earlier on in the season.
So it's a shame really that Southall can't finish this game out, particularly he's not had a poor game, only 1 interception. He's made some nice reads, he's done some good work with his feet as well. There's a late addition to the lineup there for the Jets as the running back comes in, number 48 for them. And that's Amiri. And Azar, his first pass is intercepted by Ashley Matthews, and Ashley Matthews steps 1, steps again, and he gets down to the 10-yard line. And that'll be Caesar's 1st and goal from the 10. And a tale, unfortunately, of 2 differing outcomes. 1 young quarterback comes on, throws 2 passes and completes for a touchdown. And unfortunately, the 2nd young quarterback really throws off his back foot there and picks out Matthews.
You've got to give him credit for trying to take down Matthews, though.
Absolutely, you have.
Despite being absolutely rucked.
I think we did see a step from Bash there on the return as well.
I'm not quite sure whether you can call it a step or...
he just lose his balance?
I think he lost his balance. But he did well. It was a great grab, and he did well to turn that downfield.
So on comes Henley again in very good field position, and obviously they're not going to do any danger. As
and it looked like somebody was trying to stick a leg out there.
It did. John Holmes on the carry, and he takes it
There is a flag. I think they may well have spotted that trip.
John Holmes takes the ball close to the 5-yard line for a pickup of 5.
It's Richard Mead that stuck the leg out.
Here we go. Let's have a look if we can see that there.
Right there.
Oh,
an
yes,
obvious
there it is.
trip as well.
Oh, goodness me. And that is that's a sort of lose your head play, that one, isn't it? So waiting for the call, whether or not it's enforced. Let's see.
Personal foul, tripping by the defence. Half the distance to the goal from the end of the run. 1st down.
And that was a very, very obvious trip as well, and it was on Richard Mead.
So 1st and goal. The down markers don't need to be up anymore because it is 1st and goal for Henley in the offence. And Henley keeps the ball, and Henry is a big, strong runner, and he barrels through, and he's still on his feet, and he reaches out.
Depends whether they're going to call it a score.
Oh, he's called it. He's going to call it as a fumble through the back of the end zone, I think.
I think he's been unfortunate. I think they've actually called him down.
And that is fortunate if they've called him down then.
I think his knee was down.
I don't think it is. I think.
No, they've marked it. They've marked it down.
So on that replay, you can see Henley is He's a big, strong boy, Henley is at quarterback there, and he runs into that first man. He reaches for the goal line, and let's see, his knee is down actually before the ball comes out.
It's always nice to see a quarterback truck someone though.
It is. It is.
Henley, I think, just taken a hit on his knee as he's gone down and just having to take a play out. And Ash is in with that big man, Ashley Matthews, at fullback. So we'll see if they look to pummel it in with him.
Well, I think John Holmes might be the recipient of this. Ash makes a big hit, and Holmes does take the ball. And Holmes trundles in, following the blocking of Bash. And there's another score for the afternoon for the Caesars, taking them up to 30 points on the day. So yeah, it's difficult because obviously 2 short fields there for the Caesars. It's good that they've managed to convert them and punch them in, but whether or not the offense will take.
Well, it's something they've been lacking to do up until
that is true.
Up until the turn of Henley, as it were. They've failed on several occasions to get it in once they've had the ball inside the 20-yard line. And Henley's managed to move the ball along with Holmes in the backfield as well.
That is true. As Winfield comes on and slots the extras once again, which takes our score here in Nottingham to the Caesars 31, the Jets 7. Coming towards the end of this show for this afternoon, and get involved if you can. We'd love to hear from you. You've only read one tweet out this afternoon.
That's because you were talking through the other.
Were there a few more come up?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I missed them. So
I'm not quite sure we've had the 2-minute warning yet, have we?
No, I don't think so. Glancing over to our producers to wonder if there's any more coming at all, or.
There you go.
Anyway, here we go. Chank 90. I'm not sure it's Chank. Maybe it's Chan K 90. Big shout out to hubby and daddy Josh Kelly 77, smashing it, playing both sides again. Absolutely, cheering on the Coventry Jets. Good to hear from you, and well done. We've mentioned Josh Kelly's name a couple of times. We mentioned the fact that he came on. Number 26. What else?
That would be the Jets 26. That's Silvio Amato.
And there's that same one from Anna. Lots of numbers. Let's go, Jets. Number 26 from Italy. So watching out in Italy. Nice to know we've got some international watchers. Katie Hodgkins watching Daddy play football. That's number 70 for Coventry.
Another cheeky chip.
Aaron Beale, your daughter's watching you. So good to know you've got that support there, Aaron. And it's a good return once again up close to midfield for the Jets. And I think that's one area that Nottingham need to work on going forward, those special teams.
I mean, that was a chip and taken by one of the upbacks and just making a few yards, but it does give them good field position.
And that is the difference. Unfortunately, if you're giving that sort of field position to the likes of the Falcons or the Steelers.
Yeah, the Falcons, the Caesars, even the Revolution, from what they've been doing, seriously take advantage of that.
Oh, close one up in Edinburgh as the Titans are now 16-14 ahead of the Wolves.
Titans really making moves up in that Northern Division in the Premiership.
Here's a
I think 2 wins to 1 loss, and the loss being against the Falcons.
Here's our Tamworth score as well. Tamworth still in the 3rd quarter. Tamworth 63.
Oh, and that was a nice pickup on the run that time.
That's Kelter on the carry. So yeah, Tamworth 63, Merseyside 13 in the 3rd quarter.
And this is what astounds me so much, with Tamworth obviously losing to the Crusaders by quite a margin, yeah.
Comfortable margin.
And obviously losing the first European game by a huge margin.
Yeah.
For them to be so dominant here in the UK, I think it shows how far behind a lot of the teams are, with the greatest of respect to them.
And with all respect to the Crusaders as well, I mean, they aren't the best team in Europe. You know, they're or thereabouts. They're one of the best.
That's something I'd look forward to seeing, is Falcons Tamworth, if that happens next year.
First down.
It looked like Nick Sayer was the recipient of the pass and did well to tiptoe up the sideline there, breaking 2 tackles along the way.
So that'll bring up first down inside, and well inside the Caesars territory now in this 4th quarter.
See if their offense can punch something in and certainly give them a building block.
So Azar trying to lead a late Coventry charge. Obviously the Caesars defense will be... Oh, that's a high snap over Azar's head, and there's 2 men going back there, and the ball's still loose, and Azar does manage to drop on it, but he's lost 25 yards on that one, all due to that problem they still have with the centre QB exchange.
Yeah, very, very high snap.
There was a moment there where the Caesars had an opportunity, but quarterback manages to get back in time and drop on it.
And essentially the handling errors really is what they are, is really costing them the game.
So I think we have just approached the 2-minute warning, and indeed we have there the official signalling to the Caesars bench. We have the 2-minute warning in this fourth quarter here, in this Midlands encounter between the Nottingham Caesars and the Coventry Jets. Azar still in at quarterback on 2nd and 840. So here we go, and that ball's gone over his head once again, and this time it is taken more comfortably by Amiri, and goodness me.
Well, this is the second time they've moved the ball in great quantities, unfortunately going the wrong way.
I'm not sure I've seen 3rd and this many before. Jimmy's just working it out for us.
Timeout called by the defence.
Oh, so Nottingham
First charged timeout.
Second and
1 minute 49 remaining in the game.
We'll go.
1-4-9.
So we're going for 3rd and 54.
is that including the 10 yards that we miss out being on a 90-yard field? Oh well, so 3rd and 54. Wow.
Take a picture of that. I've never seen that sort of yardage before. 3rd and 54. Onside Productions always bringing you new records in the game. I'm sure there have been longer. I'm not sure. Anyway, 3rd and 54. What was I going to say? It seems a little bit. I don't know. It seems a bit.
I hope they make it. I really do.
Me too. But I mean, it seems a bit. I'm not sure I like the decision from the Caesars to call timeout here, just purely because you're 31-7 ahead.
I think in the Caesars' eyes, and this is how I would see it, is you're arguably in the relegation battle, although they're going to comfortably come away with a win here, is that if it comes down to points against situation, if you can run in an extra 7 points, you never know if that's going to make a difference or not.
That is true. That is true. Now, Azar under centre, maybe. Oh, it's not Azar, it's a different quarterback this time. We've got Gary Sullivan in at quarterback.
It's picked!
Intercepted. It is intercepted. And it's intercepted by James O'Brien, I believe. If they're going to call that, let's wait for the signal from the officials. But James O'Brien manages to get down very low and pick that ball off.
I love it when a D lineman gets a pick.
Let's have a look.
They do all that hard work.
So Sullivan this time drops back. He steps up. He tries to elude his man. He's under massive pressure. And O'Brien.
Great awareness, actually, by O'Brien to get down low and pick it off.
And he does scoop it, covers the ball up, and it is intercepted. So the Caesars are in business again. Who's at QB?
It looks like Tom Henley's in.
So Tom Henley back at QB. Took that one play breather where Ash handed the ball off to Holmes for the last touchdown. And I tell you what, if Tom Henley, every time he takes the field, he starts within the 20-yard line, he's going to think this game's easy.
Yeah, he already thinks that.
So
he's already well too overconfident.
Henley looks, and he's got his man. And that is that 47-year-old Carl Watkinson with his first reception of the afternoon.
Yeah, nice pick up there.
And again, a nice simple slant. We kind of thought Watkinson thought he might have been in the end zone with that ball there. He caught it, and no, I don't think he did. I think he knew he was a little bit short, but did well. Caught it, held on.
Great grab.
1st and goal again for Henley on the 6-yard line. Henley 3 for 3 on the afternoon. That was another 10 yards on that one, so 30 yards passing for Henley.
They've got Bash in at fullback, so we'll see a run play here.
And it's with Bash, and Bash steps one side.
That was a step. That definitely was a step that time.
Again, but he doesn't. He maybe picks up a yard that time. So Ashley Matthews there. Yeah, there is a step there. Steps out of one tackle.
Nearly steps 2.
But well covered eventually by that Coventry linebacker. So now I'll bring up 2nd and goal for the Caesars.
Timeout called by the offence. Second charged timeout.
I understand what you're saying about the points.
45 seconds.
Sorry, sir. Are you finished? Good. I understand what you're saying about those points differential, but would it not make the fact that Nottingham have beaten Coventry twice?
Yes,
anyway, you
but
know.
yes, but then it could come up against Doncaster and all sorts, and
I suppose so.
you never know when
No.
it's gonna, you
No.
never know when it's gonna take effect.
So second and goal. Sorry.
And if you don't do it and you end up regretting not trying to do it at the time.
Henley looks to pass. He swings the ball out this time. It's just out
I
of
think
Holmes.
Holmes actually let go of that. It's going to be a late hit.
It is. It's going to be a personal foul against the quarterback, which will give them an automatic first down. It'll be first and goal then for Henley.
So that pass attempt goes null and void.
Let's see if we can just catch this. Don't watch the ball. Keep your eyes on Henley.
Well, I think
Oh,
it was, but I think he'd been pushed in the back.
I think he bought it a little bit as well,
Yes.
didn't he?
Personal foul roughing the passer. Defence number 96. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
I keep seeing that number 1 walk out there, and it reminds me of when a certain Gary Stainton used to play.
It was actually 7 that he wanted, you know.
Oh, right.
That's his
okay.
former junior number.
Right.
Ash got in there first.
Nevertheless. Here we go then. First and goal, Henley and the offence. 2 receivers either side for him. Only 1 man in the backfield this time. And that ball, it looks to be passed, and the ball, same play.
Oh, and it's dropped in the end
incomplete
zone.
this time. And he did have a chance to make that grab. Just trying to see who that is.
Looks like 83 for the Caesars.
Is it 85? It is.
83.
Yeah, 83 for Nottingham. So that was Joe Knott. And that ball was there. And to be fair, he should have made that. But second and goal. Second and goal, Nottingham, inside the 5. Henley's first incompletion of the afternoon. So first incompletion of the afternoon. Let's see if Henley can find the end zone this time, or whether John Holmes gets the call for his hat-trick of scores of the afternoon, if Holmes was to run in.
Sneak.
And it is a sneak, and Henley untouched this time.
Called that. I've seen him do that way too many times.
So Tom Henley, 1 TD on the ground, 1 through the air, and that takes the score up.
Despite being so young, he's played four years at junior, and he's just had a year at the Lions. He's a very good read of the game, and if he sees that sneaks on in that situation, he will take it virtually every time.
And to be fair to him, you could see he had read that early doors. As you see there's nobody there, and he's untouched. And Nottingham go ahead by 30 points, 37 points to 7 here against the Jets. And a while ago we wondered if Nottingham would be happy with their performance this afternoon. I think, like you say, they've now had 3 red zone possessions, and they've converted all of them in this fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, we always know the quarterback argument is a hotly contested or hotly worded, should I say, at times, situation for the Caesars. But with what Simon and Tom Henley have produced, I think both got to be in
It's
contention.
a little
And
trick,
that was cheeky.
That's Denning, Simon Denning, who went in as holder there. And he elected, and whether that was planned, it must have been planned, to be fair, because it was a decent snap.
That was...
He finds John Holmes in the end zone for the extra 2. And that will take Nottingham 32 points clear.
That was a little bit odd to call it that time, but...
As you said, there's a difference between scoring a touchdown to worry about that points differential and then faking an extra point and popping it over. I don't know. You can
I would like to think, if you're the sort of coach that runs up the score, that if somebody did it to you, you can't complain.
But equally, I mean, I think knowing Coach Warner particularly, Coach Vanden isn't that sort of
no,
coach.
He's
not that sort of personality. You know, he's a top bloke, to be fair to him. He's a player's coach, definitely.
Or at the same time, perhaps they're just giving the opportunity to some of the rookies to do what they can do. And
although that was Denning to Holmes.
It was Denning to Holmes.
But nevertheless, let's see. Winfield then is chipping that one up again, and it's going to be taken by number 7, Ray Hopkins, and Ray Hopkins with another decent return to say
Yeah,
his chip to the upright.
powerful runner is Ray Hopkins.
He is indeed.
Once he builds up to speed.
So let's see if Coventry can get a little bit of success on this final possession, which it should be now. We're well inside the 2-minute warning, or whether or not they'll just shut up shop, take a knee, and get rid of this clock. But you'd like Coventry to try.
I'd like to
have
see
success.
Coventry get a score.
Yeah, I would too.
I think that would give them great energy going ahead.
Absolutely.
Not quite sure the next team they're going up against, whether it's the Mustangs, because that's going to be a real key battle for those guys.
Indeed it is. So first down, as we said, at this point we generally like to thank a number of people.
On this occasion we won't.
We won't, no, not today. No, we will. Obviously we've got a number of people bringing you the pictures. We've got Gary on the main camera.
We need to learn his real name at some point.
Gary's good enough.
Gurgly.
As the full-time whistle goes here, with a score in Nottingham of the Nottingham Caesars 39 and the Coventry Jets 7. We will be back with you shortly for our post-game show. Until then, this. Begin to cross the field to meet each other. We obviously have that scoreline of the Nottingham Caesars 39 and the Coventry Jets 7. A good game, James. George.
Who's James?
Sorry, I don't know who James is.
Are you commentating with another?
No. We just sprinted down here to the.
We haven't really. It's not even that far.
It's not. No. What do you make of the game?
It was interesting. Coventry really do need to find a way to get that ball moving. Once Southall came off as well, they had a few issues there with that 3rd and 54, which is a new one, I think, to both of us. Caesars got that ball moving towards the end a bit more efficiently. They were a bit back and forth with interceptions and various turnovers and flags early on Mike Thompson. But to be fair to Mike Thompson, who stepped up on the line, he'd had a very, very good game after those 2 false starts got cleared out. Absolutely.
It's a difficult one, like you've said about the quarterback situation. Denning started off for Nottingham looking really proficient and moved the ball, you know, as well as you could expect and want a quarterback to move. And he then threw those 4 interceptions.
Could have been 5 or 6 very easily.
The game at that point was under Nottingham's control, but I think then questions do have to be asked, because a lot of those interceptions, or 2 of those at least, came due to the fact that he just misread that coverage or didn't see the coverage of the
absolutely.
linebackers.
And you can say, you know, Henley started almost every time within Coventry's 20-yard line. So it makes it a little easier. He's got a shorter field to try and move, but he did what he needed to do.
And to be fair, Ash, if you bring Ash into the equation as well, he had 1 series and it was a 3 and out.
Yep.
And then didn't see the field again, apart from when Tom went off with that brief injury.
Yeah, absolutely. But a lot of questions to be asked there, and I think the Jets, going back to the Jets, just need to find a way to move the ball. The defence, to be fair, I know they struggle with depth looking across the sideline, lower player numbers. The defence, certainly through the first quarter, first half even, against both the Caesars and the Falcons, were very, very good.
I think that scoreline there, that 39-7 scoreline, flatters Nottingham considerably.
Yeah, absolutely.
Particularly from an offensive point of view, I think the defence are worthy of that, and because the defence particularly put the offence on those short fields, particularly in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and this has been the case for years at Nottingham, certainly the last 2-3 years. The Caesars defence has been very, very stout, playing well above where their offence has been. Hopefully their offence can start bringing things around to match the skill that the defence possesses.
What positives, if any, can Coventry take then from this afternoon?
They got a score. That's obviously the big one for them. Strong played a very, very good game. It was a great kick return on his part. They did get a few first downs here and there. I think they'll take the positives out of Southall's feet.
Sure.
He can certainly move the ball. And to be fair to Southall, he's actually got a very good read of the game. He just didn't quite have the skill to pull off some of the throws he was trying to make.
Well, equally, he was under pressure for quite a lot of the time as well.
Absolutely.
So
the offensive line needs to find a scheme to suit.
But again, I think another positive for Southall is the fact that when he was under pressure, he made the right decision, pulled the ball down and showed he got some wheels.
Yeah, and he was comfortable to stay in the pocket as well. And that's always a key thing for a quarterback, not to be playing scared. So.
Now, from a Nottingham perspective, they go to 2-2 on the season, and a 39-7 scoreline from an outsider who hasn't seen this game this afternoon, it may well start to raise some eyebrows and say, oh wow, well over the last 2 games then, you've basically put 57 points on the Coventry Jets and you've only conceded 7.
Yeah.
Is that a little bit of a false picture?
It is. It's always difficult when you put this. You've obviously put the score on the board. The Caesars defence throughout that fourth quarter were fantastic. A number of turnovers with James O'Brien getting that interception and Ashley Matthews as well getting a pick. And it put them in very, very good field position. Obviously, the offence has to do something with that, and they'd struggled to do that early on in the game. So, I mean, I suppose it looks, you've got to look at who's on the field for the offence as to whether you've got to be worried. And I think at times, and I know this for almost fact, speaking to teams around the league with Dan Johnson last year at quarterback, teams weren't even considering the read option.
No.
Because they just didn't feel he had it. They weren't bothered. It was almost a walkover situation. And this year, I think they've got quarterbacks in there that can bring that to the table and add an extra depth in that.
Did Nottingham win this one, or did Coventry lose it? And the only reason I say that is thinking back to that situation where Coventry were 3rd and 54.
Yeah, I mean it's a valid question. There was a point in this game when it was 10-7.
Yes.
I think in regards to the Caesars defence, they'd have never thought this was in doubt. It was only ever going to be whether their offence can muster some points. I think Coventry did beat themselves up a number of times, but the Caesars had, like I say, the Caesars had to do what they had to do to get any kind of points on the board at all and match what the defence can do for them.
Sure. Before we really carry on, I must draw attention to your wardrobe choice. Can we just ask what's going on there?
So the sun's out, and as you know very, very well, I'm very fair-skinned.
Yes, you are.
And basically, I don't want some nasty skin disease.
Do you prefer it to the blue umbrella that you sort of championed during your sideline?
The blue umbrella, the sombrero. Which one do you want to go for?
Well, I don't know. I suppose that one probably looks better with the suit and tie ensemble.
This was free, to be fair. So I can't complain.
Let's get back to football. Where do the Caesars head now for the rest of the year? We mentioned in commentary about the fact that the likelihood is that it's a Leicester, Sandwell, Shropshire 3-horse race to begin with, and the Mustangs, the Caesars and the Jets are almost the battle for relegation.
Yeah.
Will this give the Caesars a springboard to think that they can at least challenge for the top 3, even if it's not top 1 or 2? Well, I suppose the question is
from my perspective, and this is my perspective. If I was the coach, I'd be looking at it realistically. I'd be looking to certainly go 4-6, taking 2 wins from the Mustangs, and then looking to target that Shropshire game to go 5-5. Use it as a complete rebuilding year. There's some new pieces out there. A lot of juniors have stepped up to the plate. You've seen Jack Winfield get a touchdown.
Absolutely.
Kieran Brown's out there. Robbie Jones is carrying an injury. Tom Harvey's not here, he's working. A number of other guys, Corey Lawrence as well. Use it as a rebuilding year. Allow some of your young talent to grow and develop. Make sure that you're in a situation to remain in Division 1, and then use next year to really go out and hit home.
Obviously, doing all the Caesars home games, all the Falcons home games, we know those 2 teams a little better than the others. Where do you feel the Coventry Jets are? Just having seen that one performance, no, we didn't see the last game between them, but where do you feel they are now in terms of this transitional period? Do they appear to have the pieces in place to be able to push on?
It's an interesting dynamic for Coventry. if I compare this year to last year, I would almost say the Jets of last year were the better team. They certainly seem to move the ball, and their defence, were good. And it's always difficult to say. I know they're in a transition period. I know they'll have had players transfer in, transfer out. But they really need to look, and they really need to evaluate. I think they'll be looking to Doncaster to try and take those 2 wins to remain in Division 1, but it's going to be a close-fought thing between the Mustangs and the Jets.
So hopefully we're just hanging around a little bit, just hoping that we're going to get a closing word with either one or both of the 2 coaches from either side. Pick out a highlight play. We've already mentioned the Coventry kick return, okay, and obviously from a whole game perspective, that is the highlight for them. Are there any other plays that spring to mind for Coventry? And then
for Coventry, they had a number of picks. Claydon's grabs, he had 2 picks, I think.
Yep.
And then making yards off those grabs as well. I think you've got to take that, all credit to them. Linebackers picking off the ball as well. That's going to be highlights for those guys. From the Caesars perspective, I think on a personal level for me, that connection between Tom Henley and Jack Winfield for the passing touchdown brings back memories, certainly does, of those guys connecting out here as juniors.
Yep.
And it's just nice to see that connection.
So we have a score here of 39-7 in favour of the Caesars. It takes them to 2-2 on the season. Coventry slipped to 0-3 now, and yeah, it's just looking around, and the number of faces now that you can see from the Caesars. It's amazing the difference that 2 wins back-to-back makes for an outfit, and you hope that this will then spur on players to come back to training, because I know Coach Bosley in our interview mentioned that they've got a 60-man squad, and they're getting sort of, as much as it sounds good, 30 or 40 men to training. And you'd hope on a 60-man squad you'd be getting a few more than that. Well, is this the sort of thing that will hopefully boost that training environment?
You'd like to think so. I think you need to look at the reasons as to why players aren't training. Obviously, with the juniors, it's a little easier. It's often exam situations.
Sure.
But for a lot of these guys, they'll be working. A lot will be on night shifts. So, it's you'd like to think a few more might come down, but it really is a case of just perhaps they're working.
There's a lot of looking around. There's a lot of history here. I mean, you and I have both got to obviously Caesars links. We're working for Onside Productions today, but we've got Caesars links, and I know that Coach Giles, Coach Warner, Coach Messam, who are all down here today, we all started out playing together with myself. I glanced around and I mentioned Gary Stainton earlier in commentary, and I can see Gary on the sideline over here now as well. So even though it's a different season outfit, there is still a history here in this club that lives on.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a long history to carry on, and hopefully it remains going for a little while longer.
Now, in front of me, I can see the winning GM, Coach Bosley. Would you like to come on over, Coach?
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Yeah, watch those wires, don't we? Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a decent scoreline to have a look on there.
I don't actually know what did it. 39-7.
Yeah.
Yeah,
now,
but it was hard, wasn't it?
I was going to say, is that a little flattering, do you think?
It is. I think the first 2 quarters were very difficult. I spent most of the first 2 quarters chasing the cars up and trying to get cars moved for the ambulance. So I didn't see much of the first 2 quarters.
So obviously the score, I chatted to you at half-time, and the score at half-time was 10-7.
Yeah.
You've now run out 39-7 winners.
Yeah.
Any particular changes? Obviously Simon Denning stayed in for the majority of the game. Ash had a series, and then Tom Henley came in for a couple of series and was successful with leading a couple of touchdown drives, albeit on short fields.
I think the thing is, Tom's got that little bit more accuracy. Okay, he might not be as mobile as the other guys, but accuracy is pretty good, and that showed today. On the numbers, spot on. Whereas the other guys, I work all the time with them trying to make sure they get this frame, but they're 10 yards up here, and unless the receiver can get to it, we're struggling.
Well, I think that's one thing that we noticed up in the booth today. When Simon missed receivers, he missed them high.
Yeah.
And whether or not that was because he wasn't coming through with his technique and throwing off the back foot or whatever. I know one thing you've always prided yourself on. I know this is who you are, but the defence. The defence, as ever, is sort of the rock of this team, and it has been for years and years and years. Sum up how they played this afternoon.
Well, I thought they struggled. I thought the tackling was, there wasn't any wrap-ups. There was nothing. It was like it was just a push.
Sure.
You know, instead of getting the wrap-up that they get taught. Coached that, and that's something that we'll be looking at. You know, that's something we'll be working on. And okay, you know, God shine on us today, and we got to win.
So where does that put you? Obviously now 2-2 on the season, which is always good. And like you've said about those first 2 games were almost pre-season games.
Yeah.
So if you put those to bed
Yeah.
and you class those as pre-season games, you're now 2-0 on the season.
Yeah.
If you're going to look at it like that. You mentioned to me about training and getting bodies down to training with a 60-man squad. What's the sort of forecast as you see it going forward then from now?
Right, well, I can tell you now because they'll get to know very shortly. We've got our 5th game coming up in a couple of weeks, I think. We've got a training week, then we've got a game.
That's right.
And they're all going to know that if they're not training, I'm going to cut them.
Right.
We've got 41 down today, we've got 19 missing.
Sure.
Okay,
Sure.
that 19 is what we need.
Yeah.
And if they can't turn up, then they aren't going to have to. We want to put new stuff in.
Yeah.
You can't do that with nobody.
No.
You're working with the same stuff. So teams that you played before, you want to put a little tweak in, you can't because they're not there. So it's going to be a hard one. It's going to be a hard one. If they don't turn up training after that, for that 5th game, they've gone.
I think including today now, you've got 4 home games on the bounce as well. Does that make a significant difference?
I think we've got a week off. We're training next week, and then I know we've got 2 on the trot.
Yeah, but I think your next ones anyway are all home games before you go away again.
I think so.
Does that make a difference?
Yeah, it does, because at the end of the day, if we can't win at home, we're going to struggle.
Sure.
Because it's easy to get down here as travel somewhere. You know, people have got families, they've got holidays and everything else.
Absolutely.
So I understand that. As long as they let me know, I can cope with that. It's when they don't do anything.
Final word. Are you happy today?
I'm very happy for the guys. I think they've all worked really, really hard. The coaches have... I've done nothing.
Yeah.
I've done nothing. I've just walked up and down, shouted at a couple of officials just to make sure that they realised I was still here. But the guys themselves, you've got Coach Warner, Coach Holden doing the offence and defence. They've done a cracking job. And also the positional coaches, they've worked hard.
Yeah.
But the thing that really, really makes me so pleased is as a team, they're working together.
Absolutely.
They're helping each other.
Absolutely.
You know, they're not slagging everybody and pulling people down if they make a mistake. It's pick them up. Next time we'll get that. Next time we'll do this. And I think that's so important.
It is vital. Absolutely.
So important. It's like life. You know, that's what happens to us.
And you create that family atmosphere and hope that
yeah,
you're all there for each
hopefully.
other.
I mean, these guys know full well that if they ever want anything, I'm there for them. And I know the same. If I want out, they're there for me.
Absolutely. Well, thank you ever so much as always for your time. Thank you for having us down here, and congratulations on the win. The sun
stayed out
all day long.
How good's that?
It's perfect.
Hey?
But thank you. Take care, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
All right. You take care.
Thanks very much. We'll bring George back in here. I think that's Barry all over in terms of happy, but he said he thought the defence struggled today.
Yeah, like I say, I mean you've got to pick fault even in a winning game, and that's how you progress. That's how you move on.
Let's just grab Tom Henley for a minute. Tom,
why?
Just for a minute. Only because.
Why, Tom?
Only because we'll have Simon in here as well. Come on, just put your equipment down, Si. Put it down. Right, Tom. I mentioned pre-game when I saw you out on the field. I said about come on, get in there. Let's see some action. You've got in there. You've had a few short fields there, but you've managed to convert them. And I think one of the things that the Seas have struggled with of late is actually punching the ball in. Tell us about that first connection between you and Jack.
I'm sure George was all about that junior coaching.
Yes, he was.
Yep, of course. It helps knowing Jack from junior years, but then realistically, all the receivers.
Just hold that up a little bit. There you go.
All the receivers are good enough, and it's just getting that momentum going. Like football's a game of momentum, and that's simple as.
Tell us about that before we go over to Simon. That one barraging run where you end up trying to truck somebody.
I almost certain I crossed.
No, you didn't. Your knee was down.
Okay, there we
Your knee was well down.
Trucked a dude.
We thought actually you'd fumbled it into the end zone for a touchback. Right. That's what we were calling the officials for.
No, I trucked a dude. Maybe not the smartest of moves, but when you get the opportunities, you want to make the most of them.
Sure.
So live life on the ass.
Well, it was good to see you out there today. It was good to see you being effective, and nice for you and Jack that get that connection.
Yeah, that's nice.
Just hand it over to Simon.
There you go, Dad.
Sorry, sun straight in my eyes. Started off really brightly, and you look well in control of the offense. A nice opening pass to Andrew Lovett, who took the ball up, and it seemed to be ticking. A couple of the interceptions. It almost seemed like you didn't see that underneath coverage. Just talk us through a couple of those.
Yeah, as you say, I think we started really bright, and we started where we left off in the last game. felt like we were moving the ball throughout the game. Actually,
Yeah.
I felt we were moving the ball most of the time. I think it's difficult. Every now and then you get an unlucky tip from the receiver, or the ball floats over the head. You're right. I think they were bringing coverage down. They were bringing pressure at times, safety blitzes, middle linebacker blitzes, and we were struggling to pick that up for a bit. We got back on track second half.
Yeah.
I think we got the ball moving again. We got a second score, give ourselves a bit of breathing room, and then this young superstar here comes on and finishes the game.
Don't tell him that.
Hey.
Don't tell him that.
No, all honesty though, I think we've had a great team performance today.
Yeah.
We stuttered at times, and hey, I'm all for getting more points on the board however we can. Okay,
Sure.
and this guy, if he sticks around in the area, he's the future of quarterback for the team. So we just need to keep feeding him the ball.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
And yeah, get him the experience he needs.
Sure. Offensive line obviously vital to any game. You had Mike Thompson drop in because of a sort of a limited, if you like, offensive line. Talk a little bit. I know Mike had those, couple of false start penalties early on, but then we said it was almost like he'd been doing it forever.
Absolutely.
You seem to have time and.
Mike's a great guy, hey, and he's used to playing on the D line. He knows what goes on in the trenches, and he's really gone out there and fought today. Hey, are you okay?
What pleased you the most from the offense today?
I think the grit, actually.
Yeah.
And just we never got our heads down. Every time we went back on the field, we knew we could move the ball, and it's just about keeping that going. And
Sure.
as some of the other coaches have probably said, we've struggled with turnout at training a couple of times, but the core of guys that are here, they know what's going on.
Yeah.
And every time we take the field, we play for each other, we play as a team, and I think we've really got a great core to the team.
Give you confidence for the rest of the season, obviously.
Absolutely.
I mean, we said, and maybe unfairly, we said we see the division almost Leicester, Sandwell, Shropshire, the top three, and almost the Nottingham, Doncaster, Coventry, this sort of relegation battle. Do you have higher aspirations to sort of crack into that top three, or is that a fair assumption?
I think we've always got higher aspirations. At the moment, we've got a lot to prove. We can only take it one game at a time.
Sure.
We've got Leicester coming here in a couple of weeks'
Yes.
time. I felt like in the second half against Leicester on their turf, we moved the ball a lot better and we got things going. All we can do is concentrate on that, get
Absolutely.
people down to training, and just work on the performance that we've put in here.
Sure. Coach Bosley mentioned that you guys haven't had any pre-season games, so the first two were almost like pre-season games, and therefore, if you put that into perspective, you're now 2-0.
Well, I wouldn't say that. The score says the record says 500.
Yeah.
It's a better position to be than 0-4
Sure.
or 0-2. But we've just got to keep working. Next team up is Leicester, and we'll go for that as hard as we can.
Haven't got a full-time score yet, but at last count, Leicester were 46-0 ahead of Shropshire, in Shropshire. So obviously Leicester,
Hey,
we know what
yeah.
Leicester are, and we know what they can do, and so they are definitely the team
Well,
to
as
be.
Shropshire showed against us, they're a
Absolutely,
good team. They're
absolutely.
disciplined. But yeah, next team for us, Leicester. We'll just keep going.
We'll be back down here for that to cover you guys as well. So thank you all for this afternoon. Congratulations
Thanks very much.
on the victory and both your
Appreciate that.
performances. Congratulations
Cheers,
getting into the end zone, and we'll catch you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks very much.
All right.
I'd
Cheers.
like my hat back
And there
so
we
I don't
go.
burn,
And the
please.
hat has been stolen by
Oh,
the young protege.
I'm
You know,
serious. I'm
if-
burning over
if
here.
he gets poorly, he's going to blame you. He will.
He's got less hair than you.
Yeah, but the hat doesn't fit me quite as well. You can have that.
Savage. Thank
I've
you.
got sun cream on.
Oh, that's all right.
But
Got scared there.
nice to hear not only from Coach Bosley but from these guys as well about the whole the family vibe and the fact that people doing things for each other and that obviously Simon being a very experienced player in all levels of football, whether it's flag football or football for
and a real team player
Yeah.
as well, as you heard there.
And I've just had it confirmed to me that it was 46-0 a final score for Leicester against Shropshire. So that right there is a statement from the Falcons if they needed to make any more.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I say, all being well, we're going to hear from some representative from Coventry. But until we do that, obviously, Tom Henley, I say you know Tom very well. I know him initially when he first came to the juniors. Bright future?
I would like to think so. You've just heard it from Simon Denning there, as Simon perhaps ages, and obviously a lot of work commitment being a doctor.
Yeah, sure.
Sees Tom as a potential starting QB in the future. So, yeah, absolutely.
I'm realistically moving forward. The next fixture is in a fortnight's time here against the Leicester Falcons. What can Nottingham realistically expect from that game?
I think they'd like to close the gap. I think they'd like to bridge the gap between the two teams from the previous outing. You'd like to think the coaches have been watching plenty of game film and trying to figure out a system to do that. But, speaking of other games, what else have we got coming up, Matt?
What else have we got coming up?
Dropped you right in it
You
there,
have dropped
haven't
me
I?
right in it.
Our director told us to drop you right in it, see what you did.
Well, I'm wondering why I didn't hear about that in my ear, whether that was obviously streamed independently. Next weekend, we've got the Falcons. Is that right?
Weekend after
yes.
the 10th, the 3rd.
Yeah.
And then we've got Samwell on the 10th.
Yeah, I'm right in saying, though, aren't I, that obviously 2 weeks today, we've got the Caesars Falcons here. Yes, I've already said that, producer Steve, so thank you very much. But anyway, I shouldn't be talking to you on camera and on air, but nevertheless. So, yeah, we have got that in a fortnight's time, the Caesars against the Falcons. And like we said, the Caesars have a number of home games back here. They'll welcome Shropshire, they'll welcome Doncaster. And by the end of that run, we could see that the Nottingham outfit haven't won another game.
Yep, absolutely.
But equally, barring, and I'm going to be realistic, I expect Leicester to obviously come in here and put on the professional performance that they are more than capable of, particularly when you see they've gone up to Shropshire today and put 46 points up. I do think we've got Sean Martin, who's just over. He's just going the other way, so we'll leave that for now.
Right.
But go for it.
Well, we have been informed, as we've just spoken about the upcoming games. To catch any of the action that you have missed, you can find us at www.onsitetv.co.uk, where you can see things like this.
Am I coming back after this?
Oh, I hope we can see that one again, because that was executed.
Steve, do you know Sam's coming over? So yeah, that was an interesting evening, wasn't it?
It was. What a wonderful evening that was too.
And to be fair, the way they finished that game was quite impressive. It was another one where University of Nottingham had already won that one, but the way they executed that hook and ladder was phenomenal. And yeah, I got a little bit excited, but how can you not get excited?
Well,
when you see plays like
varsity's
that?
a little different, isn't it? That's when you do want to run things up and rub salt in the wound of your defeated opponent. So.
Now, I've just been informed that we should be having Coach Kendall coming over to us from the Coventry sideline. So just trying to glance across to see if he's making his way. Not quite at this moment, but hopefully we'll get him in the next few minutes. Coventry in that transition year, then we mentioned earlier about what they can hope for, but my personal opinion is that they try and build around that quarterback Southall.
Yeah, and he's got potential. He's got that part of the game that you really need is to be able to read, and he can read the game fairly well. Obviously, he can always improve, and I'm sure he'll go out to continue. He's just got to get the skill to, almost like Simon Denning. He seems to make some good reads, some poorer reads, and then the throws aren't always there, and then they're consistent, and then they're not, and he's just got to work on that and get that right.
So, like I say, there were some impressive plays on both sides from the quarterbacks, and I think we can now welcome in Coach Kendall. If he's ready, over he comes.
I'll pass you my mic, Coach.
If you just come over this side for us. If you come over that side. Commiserations, but congratulations on a hard-fought game. We've said all along that's a massively flattering scoreline to Nottingham. What were you most pleased about from your performance, and what do you take from that game?
Okay, yeah. So from the last time we played them, for the last two games, actually, we've got better.
Yeah.
Each game we're getting better. Our guys are progressing a lot better. Unfortunate, the offense haven't seen the end zone, but we're getting there. We had two last game for the callback, but we're progressing in the right direction. You know, I'm really impressed with the guys' attitude to work.
Just hold that up a little bit
Yeah,
for me.
sorry,
That's no problem. Talk to me about your quarterback, Southall. He looked. We were really impressed with him. His pocket presence, the way he delivered the ball. Okay, there were a few that were down at sort of bootstraps and uncatchable, but then the Caesars quarterback, there were loads that were over the top. He seemed though that he made the right reads, when to pull the ball down and run, and when to actually step into the pocket. Talk to me about his future.
Yeah, so he's got a great future at the club. Great quarterback. At the moment he's doing all play calling on the field as well. So
right.
He's confident enough to do that, and he's good enough leader on the field to produce that, and there's elements he needs to work on. He's aware of that, and I'm the same. We need to work with him, but he's going in the right direction. He'd be a good quarterback for us.
Injury not too serious?
Not too serious. No, he just bruised his foot, so he'll be
right.
back to normal soon.
Okay, good stuff. So where do the Jets go from here? I spoke to Sean obviously pre-game, and he's mentioned it about being a transitional year. Unfortunately, I mean the great thing is you've put your first points on the board today, and a fantastic run back by number 2. His name eludes me right now. Strong, Elliot Strong.
Elliot Strong, yes.
So fantastic run back. Where do the Coventry Jets go from here, moving forward?
Yeah, so again, like Sean said at the start, it's a transitional year. This year we're trying to build. We hope we stay in Division 1. We keep building. We've got plans to build in, youth and junior and all that program. We just want to keep building football in Coventry and keep progressing that.
Defence today? Did you think they had a bit of a raw deal, just in terms of, particularly in the fourth quarter, where those field positions ended up finding themselves?
Our defence have outplayed themselves today. They were on the field quite a lot, which is it's kind of disappointing that they were on the field too much. But they've done better than we're asking for. They've really stepped up. But unfortunately, it's tiredness at the end of the game that's cost them.
Created 4 turnovers. Got to be pleased with that.
Yeah, very pleased with that. Very pleased with that. And 2 of them should have been in the end zone, I think.
Yeah, well, I think you're right. I mean, Elliot Strong looks like he's your leader back there at safety.
Yeah, definitely is. Yeah, he's one of the leaders on special teams as well. He's a great coach as well for us.
Yeah. Has he been with the club a number of years?
Not as I know to, but he come back this year. So I think he took a break and then he came back this year.
Okay. So finally, before you go, obviously short hop down the M69 back to Coventry. Where do you go from? What's your next sort of plan? Who's your next fixture? Oh, sorry. Scratch that one then. Yeah. What's your plan from there? Back at training next time?
So back at training. So we're back at training on Wednesday. So we've got video review on Wednesday. We review all this game and we progress from here. So we pick up what we did wrong, and so red zone stuff we're going to be working on quite a lot. We push it on from there. We've got, and then Wednesday, while the convention's on, our guys are out training.
Sure.
A number of our coaches are at the convention, but the rest of us are out on the field.
Great, good stuff. Well, thank you ever so much for stopping by, and thanks for your time.
Cheers.
And we will obviously see you, if not later this season, then next season.
Yeah, we'll do.
All right, thanks very much. Take care. Cheers, Coach. Okay, so good to hear from representatives from both sides here. Obviously, the Nottingham Caesars running out 39-7 winners. Last thoughts today?
I think it came together for both teams in the second half. They both showed they could move the ball. They both showed promise. So we've just got to see what they can do moving forward.
Do you see either of these teams being relegated?
I would like to think Coventry can take the wins over Doncaster. I really do. It'd be interesting to see how those two teams compete.
Well, on a fantastically sunny afternoon here at Harvey Haddon Stadium in Nottingham, we have seen the hometown Caesars run out 39-7 victors over the visiting Coventry Jets. That takes the Caesars to 2-2 on the season and leaves the Jets at 0-3 so far. But there's plenty of life left yet in those Jets. All it remains for me to do is to thank our crew, Steve and Tom, and Gary, James. Thank you, James, for your company. James, thank you, George.
That's the second time today.
I've done that twice.
I'm getting worried.
Okay. Thank you for your company this afternoon. Our next fixture, as we've mentioned, is in a fortnight's time today here when the Caesars take on the Leicester Falcons in a rematch of an earlier season matchup. We will look forward to welcoming you back to Harvey Haddon then. But until then, we look forward to seeing you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.